When you said Glee, you reminded me of another HBO documentary. I think I told you guys about it, called "I Love You Now Die."
Yeah.
Told us about
title.
We didn't tell you about it?
Yeah, I watched that when it came out like 8 years ago.
Yeah.
It came out last year, you jerk.
No, it came out like 2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah, no, it came out a few years ago. Because I have a letterbox review of it that was like retweeted by the director.
Glee, that reminded me, like in the second episode.
Yeah, she's obsessed with it.
You finally get the other side of the story about how, oh, okay, these are both horribly damaged people who both needed help. This was it's not cut and dry. Like the first episode makes you think.
The dramatization's on Hulu, by the way, if you want to watch a dramatization.
Elle Fanning
made her
Michelle
look
Carter,
so much like her.
Yeah. I'm actually going to watch the dramatization of that and The Staircase, because I was actually into both of those documentaries on HBO. Yeah,
there was like a brief period of time where both of those were like the hotness, and everybody was talking about them, that Making a Murderer, stuff like that. So like, yeah, I'm glad. Did you just watch it, Tim? Or?
I had just watched it recently, but I think it was
so
2020. Good. I think that was the date on it, was 2020 release, and I think it happened in 2016. Does that sound right?
Yeah, not that long ago, because Glee was.
Yeah, it was like 2016.
Glee.
I think the trial was 2016. I think the documentary is around 2020, and now they've got the dramatization.
Right. Yeah.
Because Glee kind of motivated a lot of her like speaches and stuff.
Dude, so, like direct quotes. It's crazy.
Yeah.
And she had a unhealthy obsession with Leah Michelle's character, and it's crazy. It's very.
And how the actress like for real lost her. Well, I guess I don't know if they were dating at the time, but the actor who played her boyfriend.
They were
dating
died at one point, right?
He killed himself, right? Or...
I don't
know. He OD'd.
I think it was an OD.
Okay. OD.
Yeah. One of the other guys did kill himself, but I think it's because he was looking at child porn.
But she fantasized about being the girlfriend who loses a boyfriend, and the attention and the emotional sweep that must be. Like she loved that feeling and wanted it. It's crazy, man. It's really
the Elle Fanning dramatization shows how awkward she is trying to get that sympathy, like, and really hammers that home how it was in real life situations.
That trial was brutal, man, because the girls were all like, "Yeah, no, I didn't want to hang out with her. No, I didn't want to hang out with her. No, I like."
Yeah,
it's like, oh
my god.
Imagine, like everybody getting up on stage and going like, "She's weird," you know?
That's
basically like your
now.
incredible loneliness being put on display, and pathetic loneliness being put on display for everyone. Like, oh, that's so sad. Because I know, like, as a teenager, that's tough already, and then
it is.
Yikes!
You know what's interesting about that documentary? I feel that documentary is probably one of the better ones I've ever seen, because you went into it going, even knowing about the case, I went into it with my preconceived notions.
So did I.
And I was like, there's no way they can both sides this in a way that makes me feel a third way.
Right.
And they totally freaking did it. And without going, well, because she's a woman, this, that, and the third or whatever.
No.
And that's some of the opinion, I guess, of like how many death threats she got or whatever. But the main focus is more on her psychology, like what's going on in her brain that could have maybe made her go, I don't know, do the things that she did. Yeah. So like, I felt they really, they sold both narratives really.
Yep, absolutely. I thought that was a great one.
Yeah.
Even though I'm way behind and that came out so long ago, but I finally watched
it.
So
long, like, man, I was like a kid then when that came
You're talking like 2020 was like.
It was like
it was literally 17 years ago.
You mean year one of COVID? You loser.
Yeah. The pre-COVID TV. What are you talking about? Yeah.
Jeez.
Anyways, and we also are going to talk about old games, not just old TV shows. So buckle up, okay?
Yeah.
Let's bring that condescension down. I'll try to.
Old bad games, am I right?
I'll try, man. I'm in a mood. I don't know.
I'm in a mood. Guys.
Kyle's been playing some Mario Party and drinking. Who knows what's going to happen?
How many stars did Kyle lose? Because
I won. I am unlucky at all of these games, and for the 5th time in my 30 years of playing this game, I've won for my 3rd time ever in my entire career. So
that's because Mario Party has the dumbest catch-up system at the end, where it's like, here's stars. It's like
that's how I won, Tim, and how dare you? So
I meant the best catch-up system. I meant the best catch-up.
There was no way I was gonna win that game, and all of a sudden I started getting a lot of sympathy stars, and I was like, yeah.
Dude, Mario Party caused me to break.
On the victory ride.
Me and my friends probably broke 2 or 3 N64 controllers over, like trying to spin the analog stick around real fast. And you kind of put it where your palm goes on the stick, and you try to rotate it, and you just burn a hole in your hand, and like, and the the analog stick afterwards, you're like, why is it so loose? Did I do this? It's like
my roommate and friend are never going to talk to me again. So that's kind of where we're all at.
I didn't realize how broken it was till I'd fire up WWF No Mercy, and then I would kept taunting nonstop, like, oh, the analog stick's broken. He keeps taunting, and I can't stop. So thanks, Mario Party.
Too much Mario Party.
For everything. Let's talk about stuff we're playing first, though, before we get into backlog and stuff we're watching. Lots of good stuff to watch as well. But I want to talk about video games that we're playing. Not a ton of huge must-play releases, but there is at least one, I think, kind of bigger video game release from this past week, and that's Nintendo Switch Sports. I think it's significant mainly because I think Wii Sports and then Wii Sports Resort and Wii Party, like these mini game collections that were on the Wii, were some of the best-selling pieces of software ever. I think it might have been.
They're in the top 10, right? Like top 10 greatest.
Yeah, I think so.
I think Wii Sports was technically the best-selling game on the Wii because it came with the system.
Right.
Technically, so they always kind of sold it
for a long time. It did. I think after a while they took it out. But,
yeah.
But anyway, all that to say, that's a pretty significant release, even if it's not necessarily something everyone's playing. I do plan on playing it. Hearing it's $40 is very encouraging. I think I'll grab it at some point here in the near future. But I know Jeff has played it a little bit. So, Jeff, tell me about this game. Is it fun? Is it good? Did you break your TV yet?
No, not yet. I didn't get to explore everything, but my understanding is there's 3 new sports in this one compared to previous Wii sports title. I don't know if the Wii U had one. I didn't own one, so I don't know. But this one, I think volleyball is new. Badminton is new. There's another one that's new, and I didn't play it. So I went right to bowling because that was my favorite esports one. And I decided to go. I went into online mode because going online, you can you're paired with anybody, and sometimes, if not maybe my entire playtime, I was paired with CPUs. So that's fine. I'm okay with that. But it was bowling was like a 16-person tournament, and you after 3 frames, I think they start eliminating people. And I won that. I dominated that. I haven't lost my touch.
Dominated.
It was like all little kids crying on the other ends of this.
I think I bowled a 170. I don't know. Whatever. It was really good. So I feel pretty good about my bowling. I'm kind of feel like Kyle does about winning Mario Party.
How do do you bowl like a normal person, or do you bowl like Tom Haverford?
Oh, son, people can see you.
Yeah, kind of like this.
Granny style. Yeah.
So, yeah, people can see you.
So mad.
And then he does it, and the guy's like, "Oh, hey, congratulations, you got a perfect game." And he's like, "I was never here."
With Switch Sports, and with Wii in general, it's all about the motion of the controller. So you could move more if you want to, but when I'm playing these games, it's just arm movement. I'm not really doing much. Yeah. You could jump up and move forward with bowling if you needed to.
Any issues with the accuracy?
No, not so far. None. You do have to early on. You have to lay down your joysticks on a flat surface so it can calibrate, and that takes 2 seconds. So.
That's Isn't it great? You don't have to have that bar across the top like you did with the Wii, where you had to stick that on there.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
I'll get to how that factors into how Skyward Sword controls later, but yeah.
Okay.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. No, I'm not having that sensor bar.
I did the bowling. Nothing really with the bowling has changed. You move to the right and left, rotate a little bit if you need to, and just hold the R or Z and release it as you let the ball go or whatever. That one's fine. Volleyball has a lot of mechanics. I was not prepared for that because bowling compared to that is super easy. Whereas volleyball has, setting where I think you just set the ball up so somebody else can spike it. And then you have a spike and a block, and which are 2 separate things. There's another one too. There's 4 different moves you have to do, but it tells you at the top of the screen kind of, I guess if you're in a CPU match, I don't know how this varies, but your character kind of changes position based on what move you have to do next. God, it's just so, I did not expect to be involved. I swept in that match, though. Don't worry about it. I'm amazing at it. But
I was worried. So good.
Man, Jeff is just just straight up athlete.
I'm the best.
Just an athlete.
I felt like there might have been a real person in that match that I had because when your avatars load in, and there's the loading screen of all your people, you can do the arm movements, and you can see your character kind of do the arm movements and stuff, and it's so funny to see them idle, and you're like, So somebody was doing that on the screen, so I had to have been against another person in that matchup. Anyway, that one I did, and then badminton, which is also a new one. I did that one too, and that one is, it's just like tennis or whatever. So it's just less movement. It's just literally you're just going up and down, and that's it. It's just that, like tennis. It's literally tennis.
I guess I don't. It's ping pong tennis. I don't know. It's like it's the same.
Yeah,
thing
that's
as
like
tennis.
the one with the ball that has like a.
Yeah. Oh, I know what it is, but like, I don't know how to describe it.
By the way,
not
it's tennis. Yeah.
That's called a shuttlecock.
Yep.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
I knew that from elementary school because we used to
did
say
not
that.
know that. So I was like, can they say that in this game? I didn't know that was allowed.
I like to think that when they play it, they say it every time they hit it. Shuttlecock.
Shuttlecock. Shuttlecock. Shuttlecock.
So that one I did
sound like a Pokemon
I think
announcing
I think there was just a timing. Timing is most important in that game, even though it's relatively easy what you're doing. You don't have to hold anything to hit it. It's mostly just swinging. But yeah, timing I got wrong. Somebody did score on me once, but then I beat him. There's tennis, soccer, and the sword one too.
Yeah, I was gonna say, if there's tennis in there, like badminton's so random.
That's
like,
a weird
it
one.
is.
Yeah.
It's a weird addition.
Okay, so with
it feels
soccer,
weird that they left that in, but not golf or baseball yet. But those should be in later, I think.
Doesn't the game, and maybe you bought it digitally, but doesn't the physical game include the leg strap for the kicking mechanics?
It does, and that's only right now. That's only for soccer shootout. But I bought it digital, and that's $10 less, and I assume that's why it's $10 less.
Okay, because I have that piece from
if you have it from the Ring Fit, then
Fit
should be
Adventure,
should be good. Yeah,
but
eventually they'll start putting that into actual matchups. But right now it's just for shootout that you can use that. Yeah.
Okay.
So I have no idea how do you even do the matchups then if you can't?
Yeah. Right.
If you don't have am I just using my hands to kick? This is
you're
weird.
kicking with your hands.
I guess you just don't get to play that minigame.
What is it? I punch so hard it feels like a kick. Maybe that's right. Yeah.
Is that Kick Puncher? Is that Community?
I don't remember. It might. No, it is Community. It's Kick Puncher. It's exactly what it is. Yeah. He punches so hard it feels like a kick.
Jeez.
It's fun so far, but even solo, it's fun. Like whereas with Mario Golf, Super Rush, I was bored. I was pretty bored after the first few rounds, and I was just ready. I was checked out. Whereas this one can be fun solo, especially when you're matched up with people online, and you can play with friends online too if you wanted to. But it also serves as a great local party game. Like it's perfect for that. Like I can imagine having a blast playing this with family, like we did with Wii Sports. There it goes. Camera disaster. It's
Kyle giving us a sneak peek. Save it for the after show, buddy.
I'm sorry. Yeah, my OnlyFans has been really light lately, and I'm trying to cross both worlds over right now.
He's got like a URL listed down below. It keeps like
that's what's on his crotch.
Would you like to see more?
Yeah, that's
style.net.
And my QR code that's on my dick.
Oh man. Okay, let's talk about Switch Sports real quick before that. Before we do that. Okay, so you played. Are there any mini games you didn't play yet, Jeff?
3. I only played half of them, so 3 of them I haven't played, and that I mentioned the soccer, tennis, and the sword one, which has a name, but I can't remember it.
Oh yeah, that's the one I really like. Is the sword one? That's fun.
Yeah, I know that's from Wii. I know that's from the old one. So I think soccer might be the new one, because I remember tennis. I remember tennis being the old one.
Well, it's kind of interesting to see them leaning back into the play this on a big screen. Not that I know you can play it tabletop mode, whoever does that.
Sure.
But you can do tabletop mode, I guess. But I feel like they've leaned over the last couple of years pretty hard into the portability of the Switch with the Switch Lite, and it just feels like that. And now it
this
seems
one,
like
Tim, I couldn't agree. I'm so much on that journey. Like I bought the Lite, because I'm like, oh, they're really leaning into like playing games on the go and stuff like that. And then now things are kind of like. The pendulum is swinging back to it's like no, like with Skyward Sword and with like Wii Sports and stuff like that. Like
Ring Fit.
Ring Fit. Like you want to be standing in front of your TV and like actually using Joy-Cons again or whatever, sitting there with a controller. So much where I bought an OLED Switch so I could start doing that again.
Same.
So,
yeah. I feel like I started with a little more like, hey, get up and get active with some of these games, like 1-2 Switch. Remember that launch game that was kind of like a party game?
Vaguely.
And then Arms that came out that summer, where it's like
Arms.
very motion based. Listen, I know a lot of people like to hate on Arms. That game was horrible.
I like Arms better than Splatoon. I'll tell you that.
I have more fun making fun of Arms.
Yes. I'll die on that hill.
Man, just so many people would
hashtag Arms 2, not Splatoon 3.
Yeah, not Splatoon 3. We need Arms 2. We need an open hub area where everyone gets to arm out and stuff. Yeah.
Arm out. Get the arm. Intertwine arms,
like customize my arms, man.
Intertwining their arms together.
Oh my gosh. But hey, the character design in that game was pretty good. We can talk about Arms some other time. Sleeper best game of 2017, I think. We'll get back to it.
I think you can customize your. I just imported my Mii, but you can customize your.
Okay, so they don't look like the same weirdo legless, armless things they were before, right? They're a little different now. Like they look more like full-fledged characters now, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's whatever your Mii is. I mean, you can import your Mii, but you can also,
I just remember in Wii Sports, like especially playing baseball, you were just
whatever
like
it is currently.
Blob. Remember the old Wii Sports? You were a blob, and then you had your two little hands that were separate from your body, and it just all kind of
everything was a circle, like your hands were a circle.
Well, I'm wondering where you're importing it from, because there's no like Mii.
Yeah, no, you make your Mii. No, when you make your profile on Switch, you make your Mii.
Do you?
You can.
Yeah, I literally just bought an OLED.
You don't have to. That's the thing.
Weird.
Like,
no, it's optional. You can skip it. You can.
On previous systems, it was like part of the creating your account process. Now it's more like you can go into your account.
An option now.
Because I use my Mii on Mario Kart 8 all the time.
Same here. That's what I use as my Mii. If you look at my profile, it's my Mii.
We probably look exactly the same on there, Kyle. Like our
Mii. A white dude with beard, and glasses. Yeah, we look the same.
We discovered this embarrassingly playing Tiny Tina a couple weeks ago too. We're like, oh my gosh, we are
loaded
so
in,
basic.
And I was like, wow, you and I, we're the Starbucks coffee drinkers.
Hang on,
and I customized my Mii when I was still wearing glasses, so. I look like you guys, basically.
Oh man, all three of us.
We all look
the
same.
Us.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I get it. You guys have facial hair. That's great.
You do too, Dan. You would have looked the same.
Barely, bro. Come on, bro. This is not.
Yeah, same here. Barely,
gets for me.
So I'm gonna cut your faces off and put it on my face.
This is face off.
It got weird. My favorite genre movie.
Face off. Is it safe to say that this is a full-fledged recommendation at this point for $40-$50 depending on?
Oh yeah, for $40, especially if you have friends. I don't have friends. But if you have friends,
where are your friends
that you regularly see and they come over and have a gaming night or whatever, and if you have a family that owns a Switch, 100% get this game.
All right, cool. Yeah, that one does look pretty cool. I was just looking at whether or not it includes the strap, and it does. If you buy the physical version, it kind of comes in one of those larger cardboard-sized boxes that I assume has the strap and the game case in it. Sweet. Another game that it didn't technically come out this week. It is in early access.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's like early access technically, right?
Technically, yes, and it's clear that it is because it is a little rough around the edges, and that is Dune: Spice Wars. So this is made by the same folks who made this really cool Viking strategy game called Northgard, which I have on the Switch, and I've really enjoyed it there. That's kind of a cool grid-based strategy game. It gets really tough really quick. At first it's like, this is great, I'm rolling, I'm doing really, I just got crushed, I spread out too thin, oh my gosh, I just died. So it's one of those kind of games where you can invest hours and then learn that you did it all wrong, and so it can be very frustrating if you don't like those, I guess they call them 4X strategy games, where there's elements of turn-based but elements of real time all going on at the same time. And so the idea with Dune: Spice Wars is, and by the way, you have to learn this as you go. Like the game doesn't start off with a little like robot giving you a tutorial or something. It just opens up the map and things are moving. You're like, well, what am I supposed to do? And you just have to start clicking on things. And when you do, then the little tutorial info for that thing will come up. Like, that's what this does. So I think that's part of the early access experience, is you don't have a full-fledged user guide in place yet. And I think they will introduce that over time.
Mm-hmm.
But the idea is that you need to create units, send them out to explore, and as you send your little, what are they called? The optocopter? What are those called?
The dragonfly things?
Ooh.
Omnicopters?
I thought it was like orthocopter? Something like that.
Orthopedic.
Yeah.
Orthopedic choppers.
So you start with
fake Dune fans.
You can pick one of 4 factions. You can pick either the native people, Zendaya's people. I forget what they're called. Thank you, Fremen.
Yeah.
You can pick the Harkonnens, so you can be like the big fat dude. You can be Atreides.
Or Atreides, thank you.
Or the 4th one is, I forget what they were called, but they're basically bandits.
Okay.
Or something like. bandits or they're something like that, but they were a little more ranger looking. So I don't know exactly who they are, but
no Imperial set. That's interesting.
Not right now, at least. Those are the 4 you could choose from. So you pick one, and then it just kind of throws you in. It's not really, at least as far as I've played so far in early access, not story based, which is that part's a little disappointing to me because I wanted there to be mix in what I've played with Civilization and what I've played with Northgard and these other types of strategy games, and give me a really cool version of the Dune story, or tell the main Dune story. That's fine. Like, I wanted to experience that, but so far in early access, they're just focusing in on the gameplay. Overall, it runs pretty smoothly, although it did make my computer super, super warm. Like, it started to get really hot compared to
not optimized well, probably.
I don't think it's optimized super well yet. But yeah, if you like strategy games and if you like stuff like Civilization, it's not turn-based like Civilization, but if you like that kind of stuff, and if you like Dune especially, I would say it's worth a try. Although the main reason I went ahead and bought it's $30, and I already had like 20. I think I had 22 in my Steam wallet from a game I had returned. A little while back. It was just sitting there in my wallet. So technically, that was money I had to spend anyway. So I figured, all right, I'll spend $8 essentially on this, and it's worth it for me. Like, I'll play it a little bit more. I like these kind of games, but it is certainly not the kind of epic Dune story. If you watch the movie and you're just hungry for more of that universe, like I felt when I watched that movie, this is not the answer to that. This is just a way to kind of play around in that world, if that makes sense.
I was going to say, terrible. I mean, Sasan probably would love this game.
There's no Timothée Chalamet to be seen anywhere.
So then he would love the game then.
You probably love it. Yeah, you probably love it. So so it's a I would say for the most part a wait and see as they continue to update it, and let's see what the actual reviews are.
Is there a plan to put in story, or is there any word on that? Okay.
I haven't looked at their roadmap. I'm not sure.
Yeah. I suck at these types of games, so there being no story at all.
But I want to try it for Dune's sake. Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah. But so it's hard to give it a full-on recommendation, but it is interesting that they made it, and the timing seems to make sense with Dunes. I mean, it's kind of towards the end of that wave. They should have tried to get this thing out in the fall, but whatever. There's still a lot of excitement around Dune, I think.
Yeah, we get the new TV show coming out and the new movie, so
yeah. The other one that I played a little bit of, and I just played the demo for this. I didn't buy the whole thing yet. It just came out this week, called The Serpent Rogue. So if you played kind of smaller, kind of survival crafting games like Smoke and Sacrifice, or what was that one? The Flame and
the Flood.
Yeah, if you've played games like that, it's a little bit in that same vein, where you kind of have a very stylized world to explore, and you're wearing one of those like old school doctor masks that kind of comes to, I forget what that's called.
Like
from the plague.
It kind of It kind of has a little bit of that vibe to it, at least what you're wearing. But it's a unique world. Basically, the idea is you start wandering. It doesn't give you a ton of guidance, and you have to just find recipes, find items, and then you have a couple different cooking and crafting stations, and you just need to start randomly mixing either food together at the cooking station to find recipes, or find the actual written recipe somewhere in the world. So it's very crafting heavy, and that goes with items too, like an axe that you need to build to start chopping wood and all kinds of stuff.
Sounds like my brother would love this. He loves these like kind of slower paced, meditative, chill games at this point.
It is very much, if you really liked the crafting side of Valheim, you might like this. But I haven't yet experienced the ability to like just flatten out a piece of land and build my own like house. Like, that's what Valheim can do. This doesn't seem to have that. This seems more about just the crafting piece, where, hey, if you put these things together, you'll build this, then you'll unlock the ability to now build that, and so it's a lot more crafting heavy. So it's interesting, but it's certainly not for everybody. But those were a couple of the newer games I tried out this week. What about you guys?
It's not for the Derricks.
It's certainly not for everybody, but it's one of those games. I like to highlight games like this sometimes because I know no one's gonna give it a second look, unless someone somewhere talks about it. So I think the Serpent Rogue is actually a pretty stylish, cool little game. It's just not gonna be for everybody. But
curious what
there's a demo too. So
oh, nice. Speaking of demos, I played the Loopmancer demo. This game is not out yet, but this game is called Loopmancer, and you guessed it. There's like a loop. It's a loop-oriented game. So it's a very Chinese game in the sense that, remember Fist, Forged and Shadow Torch?
Yes. Yeah.
It's very Chinese in the sense that the dialogue is terrible and the cutscenes are really cringe.
Okay.
But when you get to the action stuff, that stuff is super, super fun. So this is like a cyberpunk type setting, where it's like Blade Runner-esque and stuff, very futuristic, flying cars and stuff. And you play a detective, and you're looking for a journalist. And you go to
this looks cool.
You go to confront a Yakuza boss or whatever, and it's kind of like a side-scrolling action
Kyle
game. So you go to confront this Yakuza boss who's holding a parade for some reason because China. And
these are different. These are all different countries. Okay,
you're right. Yakuza's Japanese. I messed up.
Yeah, really outing yourself there.
I don't know. I could stay silent only so long.
No, I can't remember. But he's a crime boss. Anyway, you go to confront him, and he's like, anybody who kills this guy gets 100,000. Whatever the currency is.
These visuals look good, man. This looks
visuals look super cool.
This game looks really pretty. Like it looks.
I remember seeing the trailer for this. Yeah.
Some of the visuals remind me of when I first saw Shadow Complex. I mean, that game looks dated now, but like think back to when you first saw how cool that side-scrolling game looked, but it had like all this depth to it, and
Shadow Complex is awesome.
There's some of that, and with Shadow Complex, the remaster plays really well still. By the way,
it does.
It reminds me of that, where like you're kind of exploring a lot, but also trying not to die, and it's very, very critical that you're good at dodging, because my God, these guys can take some damage off of you. But yeah, it's really fun, and it gives you the chance to like. I think Shadow Complex kind of had this too with weapons, where like it's really important that you kind of buy weapons and stuff like that from not from vendors, but you try out different weapons and change your approach up a little bit. This game has like a ton of different weapons. You're not really able to get any of them at the beginning, because the point is that you accrue money or whatever, in-game money, and you apply that money to the purchase. You invest it into the purchase of a weapon each run, and that is permanent. So you die and then you go back and invest more money.
That's cool.
I think so far the only one I can get is a frying pan. I don't know. Nice. I don't know if that's gonna allow me. I think it lets you stop bullets, or like you can just like you just let it hit bullets at the thing.
By the way, I like these investing your resources, and it kind of that part saves even if you have Getsu Fumaden did the same thing where you could start to invest into upgrades, like the permanent upgrades that they had, but like if you only had 100 and it cost 500, you could go ahead and put 100 towards it, and then next time it's down to 4.
And I cannot stress enough, if you guys do get this, because it's a demo, so it's free. Yeah. If you do try this out, definitely invest, because otherwise when you die, your entire bank goes away. So that's the catch. Definitely invest in something.
Spend it. Use it or lose it.
It's definitely tough. And there are difficulty settings. I put it on easy. There is a story mode, so maybe I'll have progress even more if I do that. But like I put it on easy, and I was still like getting just completely obliterated. And that's the thing too, is that with it being a foreign game, is like the tutorials are very verbose, and I'm like, I'm not going to read all that. So I just skip it and move on to the next thing. And then it turns out there's some stuff explained in there that helps you avoid strong attacks.
Don't be a Derek. Don't be a Derek.
The
Listen
indicator,
to the dialogue.
Like there's a red indicator when it's a strong attack and you need to dodge. So I was not paying attention to the novel-esque tutorial, and I totally missed that. But it is like, I mean, that setting is just awesome.
I mean, if you're gonna make a tutorial, you should make it more concise. Make it kind of easier to absorb. So
dude, I totally see the comparisons to Fist. It was just kind of like a lot of the machinery and things moving in the background, a lot of like laser looking effects and really cool reflections. Like, this game
I didn't even mean that, but yeah, that is true, because it is a cyberpunk type setting. You know?
I like it.
I just meant in the terms of like the dialogue being so cringe.
Oh, the dialogue.
Like
okay.
Yeah, and then the action being super fun.
Okay.
So it's worth checking out, at least the demo. There's no release date yet.
Just says 2022 on Steam right now. So yeah, I'm going to download that when we get off of here. When you said Obliterate, it reminded me, I just want to mention real fast, I have been playing a little bit of Salt and Sanctuary. It's one of those games I've owned for a long time and haven't really played. But it is a pretty solid side-scrolling Souls-like game. It's got surprisingly cool visuals. Like I really like the art style a lot. Because I know Salt and Sacrifice actually comes out next week or in a couple weeks. I think it comes out.
I didn't realize it was that close.
I think it comes out in May. I could be wrong.
I'm a huge fan of that game.
Early May.
I got really far into this game.
Like, did you get far into it? Okay.
I couldn't tell you like where, because this is years ago I was playing it, but like I remember playing this game a lot.
It's hard, man. It's a tough one, but it's cool.
It's very hard. Yeah.
But yeah, if you like that Souls formula where it's like, hey, we're not really going to tell you where to go, but people have left a few messages that kind of give you vague guidance, and it's very much a love letter to Souls. It's just kind of
it's 2D instead of 3D. That's it.
Kind of that 32-bit 2D style where there's.
I love
it's not like 8-bit, really right? Good. It's not like an NES 8-bit game. It's more detailed than that. But
yeah.
I like it.
The second one comes out in like 2 weeks.
2 weeks?
That's amazing. I had no idea. That's crazy.
Yep. Cool. So I just wanted to mention that you said obliterated. When you die, it says obliterated, and it's like, oh, at least they wrote it in nice cursive for me. It looks better than the all caps. You died.
Yeah.
So.
And when you do restart, it's you kind of start from your apartment first, and there's some stuff you can check out there. Then you go to your captain at the police station, which is, again, it's very futuristic and stuff. There's lots of robots around that are helpers. And as your boss is telling you the case, he's like, I think I already know these details and stuff, but in his like very horribly voice acted American accent. So that stuff is all cringe, but you can accept it because it's like, well, at least it's fun. At least it's fun to play.
Yeah. Cool. And I saw that Kirby has been completed by somebody.
Completing games like a pro gamer. That's what I do. That's what I do, guys.
So
this is why my backlog was so small, because I just finish games all day.
Same here. Dan, you and I have the same problem where I'm like, I get to the games I want to play. So like the games I really want to play, I've played. So I'm left with the games I should play but don't really care about playing.
All right, easy there, condescending twins. Let's just hear about Kirby.
So Kirby is fantastic. If you just remotely like platformers, just even the littlest bit, if you own a Switch, please buy Kirby. It is amazing. It's fantastic. It's a great game. The difficulty does escalate. It's not like super hard, but definitely the last world, there's some levels there towards the end that are actually pretty challenging. And there's a couple of boss fights where, so I don't know if you guys, some of the ones of you that have played Kirby, do you know that you can dodge in the game? Like, did you know that, or
were you aware? Did not know that.
Because you can dodge. So. You can dodge in the game. So basically when you're holding the triggers and Kirby kind of does his little sort of like almost like he's shielding himself. Mm-hmm. And if you tilt the analog stick in any direction, he kind of like basically does like a roll.
Oh, nice.
And when you're fighting bosses, if you just dodge the second they're about to hit you, it does like this slow motion, like he kind of like dodges the move.
Nice.
And I was using the power that has like the guns. And when you level that up all the way, do you guys care about me spoiling the sort of?
Okay. I've already seen the game. I've played about half the levels. My son has completed it, and he would have me jump in co-op every once in a while.
Okay, so the power-ups, super cool. Each one has up to level 3. So the level 3 of the gun is basically like you're like this space ranger, and he has like this laser gun, which is super cool. And if you charge that up all the way, it does sort of almost like this like sort of orb that just does continuous damage while the orb is there. So on the last boss, I was like basically aiming at them and like dodging at the same time, but you can actually shoot while you're doing that dodge move. So this kind of a lot going on mechanically for a Kirby game, which is actually pretty shocking. But the main thing, and Kyle's going to appreciate this the most, is the very, very end of Kirby.
There's a Yakuza boss.
Yeah, you got me. I'm in.
The very, very end of this game is basically Dragon Ball Z.
Oh, I'm in. Great.
It's basically
Jeff's out.
The last moment of this game is basically an anime, and it's fucking fantastic. Like,
right, cool.
It is so
unbelievable. See you, Jeff.
Bye, Jeff. Yeah.
Like it's insane, and it does the typical like Japanese RPG thing where like there's like 5 bosses at the end all in a row, which is insane. Like it's the ending of this game is crazy.
Cool.
It's absolutely worth playing. Please play it. It's fantastic. Just really fun.
I'm waiting for one of those really like classic Nintendo deep sales for this game.
Oh, those happen all the time.
The ones that happen all the time.
And they're definitely more than $10.
Yeah, and it's definitely more than $10. Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
Usually,
this won't drop from 60 to 56. Yeah. That's not how they do it at all. They won't take 5% off.
I was gonna say it's like 90% off usually, right? They just
totally, yeah.
It's just crazy slide. So yeah, Kirby, super awesome. Ghostwire Tokyo, it's not bad. It's a swimming in sevens game. I did think the end of the game
it, though. Like you actually completed the whole main story.
Okay. Yeah.
That's impressive.
So
you beat the story?
Yeah.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, I think I clocked it at
Jesus.
Thank you. I clocked it.
Just don't.
You're making us feel bad, man.
I think I clocked in at 39 hours. Okay. So it has that typical thing, which I think I brought up before, where like with open world games, it's tricky to sort of kind of throw you in like you're sort of absorbing the story and you're getting into it, but then you get sidetracked with so many things. And then when you get back on the main story, you're like, well, what's going on? And am I actually invested? Is this interesting? And it basically is kind of one of those open world games where that is the case. There's just so much to do that if you do get distracted, then kind of when you do get back to the moments where there's actual story happening, you're kind of like, I'm not totally like invested in what's going on. But the very, very end actually is pretty emotional, actually. And I was feeling those emotions a bit right at the very end, because there's kind of a lot of story stuff happening right at so the last two chapters are basically super linear. Like you basically hop on a bike and you go to this other area. And it's pretty straightforward from that point. You're kind of just like cutscenes and then some fighting and cutscenes fighting. So yeah, the ending was satisfying just because it just kind of wrapped up nicely. Kind of a lot of themes with death and kind of how the perspective of from the Japanese, like their culture, and I guess like sort of like how they view things, and like kind of taking in obviously this game's being supernatural, so mixing in those elements and kind of their culture and how they look at death and all that. So yeah, it was interesting, but like just the game again, it's just typical open world, kind of clunkiness.
It's an Ubisoft like copy and paste to me in terms of mechanic. Like you go to the thing and unlocks like a bunch of icons on your map, like, which there's nothing wrong with that. I don't.
Yeah.
I mean, Dying Light 2 has that same formula, and if you like that world and the gameplay style, then you're gonna enjoy that, right? Like,
it's just the combat. That's a good example. The combat in this game is just not super great, though. That's the thing.
It's not great. It's interesting.
Yeah.
Like I mean, like
I liked all the hands.
I didn't really like it.
Yeah,
like pew pew.
But I played about 2 hours and I was not digging the combat, so I don't.
Well, and I kept on liking it to like an Xbox throwback, and what I meant by that is like it feels that old in terms of mechanics.
It feels like stiff, right? It's like stiff.
Stiff is a good. So like I'm trying to think of like certain names of games from Xbox.
Hexen.
Really,
that's N64. Remember Hexen on N64?
Yeah. But like just stiff and old, but like still trying to do something new and weird, you know, like so it's an experimental first-person shooter phase in Xbox. It feels a lot like that.
I mean, the game clearly like went through some issues, I think, development-wise. So I'm wondering if there was just kind of a lot of back and forth. Maybe they were having trouble figuring out really what road they wanted to take with this game. If they did want it to be fully linear, if
I got to be honest, when you lose a director. Like the game changes completely, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So the vision leaves with them. So whenever that girl left halfway through this game or however long through this game, like a paradigm shift happened, and we'll never know what that game looks like.
It's not a terrible game by any means. There's definitely some interesting stuff in there. I mean, exploring Shibuya is super cool.
I'm enjoying it
visually. It's a visual treat for sure. Like it's visually cool to just walk around in this like just completely desolate, empty Shibuya and just like clothes strewed about on the ground. It's just like
it's vibes for days for sure.
They
really nailed the vibe. I just wish they some of the other things elements.
If it was fun to play, then I would say it's closer to an 8. If it were more fun to play, because then I could be like, well, I'm getting distracted. That's on me as the player. So that kind of aspect, it's like.
Well, here it doesn't really get harder either. Like it's just right.
Yeah, not too much really.
It just the whole from the start to the game to the end of the game, you're kind of at the same power level, and that's weird to me.
I think I died like maybe 3-4 times the entire 39 hours. Like I didn't really die that much, so it wasn't.
But you're difficult. A pro gamer too, though. So
you're way too good.
Yeah,
this is true.
Right.
I was actually playing blind.
Every mode is easy.
He beat Sekiro, all right.
That would be like 30 times for somebody like me who's not a pro gamer.
I was actually playing blindfolded and with one hand, so
and with the rock band controller. So.
Yes.
Yeah, you know it's funny listening to you describe it. It reminds me a lot of my experience with a game like Rage 2, where it's like this isn't bad.
Yeah,
and I like parts of it, but I
remember beating it, being like, I don't remember anything about that game.
Dude, I could not tell you much about that game.
I don't remember anything.
It's just how can you release Rage 2 in a post Mad Max world? I just don't.
Sure.
Would Mad Max already did all that better?
But Mad Max
really close to each other.
That game was that.
You're talking about Fury Road?
No, the video game.
The game.
No, the video game came out like in 2015, and then Rage 2 was like 2019.
2015, and yeah, Rage 2 was.
Can't believe Mad Max came out the same year as Fury Road. That's crazy.
2019. Yep.
Dude, the Mad Max video game. The Mad Max video game is one of those games that I didn't play till it was like $4 on some crazy sale. I was like, all right, I'll try this.
You got a hell of a deal.
I loved that game, man. Like,
that game is amazing, dude.
I thought it was like on par with like the Shadow of War games in terms of an open world, fun thing to explore, and it kept giving me motivation to keep. Let me do this side thing. Like I love.
Yeah. And then as you're driving to a destination, you're like, "What's that over there?" Like you just.
Yeah,
so easily
you guys, this is the guy. This is the studio who's making Hogwarts. You know, so it's like it's like So when you go it's Avalanche.
I think we had this conversation before.
So it's like
we did.
No. This is sadly it's a different Avalanche. I thought it was the same one too. No, it is.
I was gonna say I swear we had this conversation.
No, it's the ones who made. I'm serious. It's the ones who made like Cars 3 and Disney Infinity.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Yeah,
this game's gonna suck, guys. Oh no.
It's fine.
No, sorry, you're right. I think they are the same ones who made the Shadow
Avalanche Software, which is different than just Avalanche.
So sad.
They did that on purpose.
Oh God.
Avalanche Studios is the other one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
It's like a company. It's like a game being made by Squaresoft. Like no, it's Squares Oft. Like that's the name. It's like
sure.
Circle
Soft. From soft, from
never soft and always soft. It's like, wait, what?
From off.
Yeah, soft always. Those are two problems.
It's like the Take. Is it Take Two or somebody like that? I'm pretty sure there's another studio called that, and I'm like, I confused Take Two with somebody else.
Take Two and I do the same thing. I confuse It's Take Two and what's the other one?
I remember getting Traveler's Tales and Telltale mixed up.
It's Traveling.
I was like, I can't believe these are the same guys who made Walking Dead and Lego.
Take Two and 2K. No. It's Take Two and 2K.
And it doesn't help if when they make the same game sometimes.
Right.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
That is true. Well, guys, we've got a Backlog Hall of Shame progress report to get to here, and I'll go first because I think
I actually had a couple games that I was playing that I haven't talked about.
So Kyle was.
I'll just be really quick about it.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah. No. Yeah, I was playing Monster Hunter Stories 2. Really good.
Yeah.
Way bigger than I thought it would be. So like the second they released me into the open world, I'm like, whoa, this is like a whole world that they built here.
It's a legit JRPG, man. It's
very overwhelming. Really like the combat style a lot. Like it's a rock paper scissors combat, but there's a meter going, and as your meter fills up, you can jump on your steed, and like when you're on your steed, you attack. You have bigger attacks. You can team up with people. You do head-to-head attack. It's very cool. There's a lot going on here for just being
because it's you and your monster together fighting, which is really
I'm loving it. I think it's awesome. I definitely see myself putting some time into. I've also been playing what was the other one? Ruin King.
League of Legends.
Immediately I go, oh, they're doing like the animations, and maybe they do this with League of Legends. I don't know. I've literally never put eyes on that game, not even one time. But like the animation style from Arcane, like on Netflix, same art style in this video game. So they're obviously like attached themselves to this look or whatever.
So I remember there was some blog or something that I read about this when Arcane came out. My interest in that whole lore skyrocketed. Although I have no interest in playing League of Legends. That game's very old and apparently not very welcoming to get into or fun to play. But they are certainly saying we've got so much here. We need to start spinning off content. Arcane being, of course, the kind of the tip of the spear on that. But they've put out a couple of mobile games that apparently have done pretty well, like this Hextech, like one of those.
The Hex
like a little. There's an endless runner with what's the little guy who gets kicked off of the council in the show? He's like the little builder dude.
I know what you're talking about.
It starts with an H, right?
Heimerdinger.
Yeah.
So yeah, he had a little mobile game, and they have this one now. It's called Ruined King, and there actually are some characters that are all the characters in these games are champions in League of Legends, and so people who have played that game will recognize them. People like me, or I'm assuming Kyle, we haven't played that. They're still really cool, interesting characters. That
I mean, I've met only 2 so far, and they're both very.
I haven't felt like behind the 8 ball.
They're very full. There's just a lot of
introduce you to it.
Exactly, yeah. The introduction to these characters, the second you start controlling them, you're like, I get kind of what they're all about already. And then you kind of see the story that they're being put into. So just the way they introduce characters in this game is really interesting to me. And
very cool.
Everything's fully voice acted. The art style is amazing. There's enough going on in the the turn-based combat where it's just not turn-based combat. You need to be kind of paying attention to this like meter at the bottom and like.
Yeah, how do you like that? The little meter where like
I don't know if I love it, but I love that there's something there to just break up menu monotony, if you will. So like I enjoy that it's there. I just don't know if I'm like, well, I'm gonna love it like I love like old games, like you know, like that to kind of implement the type of stuff as well. But like it's cool that it's not just menus. So. Yeah, I'm really enjoying it so far. So I got two.
I like when there's a little like status effect where it's like, hey, if you attack during this window on the bar, maybe your attack will go up or will go down, or maybe if you land right here, you'll get healed during the, like whatever. There's lots of different incentives to really plan
maybe
out.
You'll evade like a poison attack that's coming at you, or you know, like there's a lot of stuff going on. I just like how involved it feels. So I'll play. I like that more than I like Monster Hunter, which I never thought I'd say. So I haven't even finished Arcane yet, so like I didn't fall into that hole like you guys did. But like no, I don't. It's fine. It's just fine for me. But like this is I don't know. I'll finish it and I'll probably have a different opinion about it. But like right now it's just fine. But like this like is really like.
I think we loved it too much, and that happens. If someone
didn't love ER before like Tim started taking off with ER for the next 6 months that we were talking about it for.
All right.
Like I got it in before like he started really loving it.
All right. So then you know what, Kyle. Arcane sucks. There you go. So now
but now I'm the hipster of the podcast where we have to like convince Kyle something sucks, so I like it more. I don't want
the worst show I've ever seen.
I liked what I saw, and I especially episode 3, like where like the real paradigm shift happens. You're like, oh, okay. I definitely plan to go back to it. This really resonates with me. I like this world a lot, and I think the characters are really well written. I think there's like 1,000 characters. All the ones I've met so far feel very unique. Like no one feels like a copy of somebody or anything like that. So
they seem really good at just making characters. Like
I feel like they have a whole team of writers, and it's just interesting that people can just like kind of maybe think about whatever they want to, bring it to a board meeting and go, here's this pirate character, and go, this might be good for a game, or this might be good for this or whatever. This might be good for a whole
fully
TV show.
Different than Arcane, which has like that steampunk vibe to it, and this has much more of a piratey fantasy vibe to it.
But they both feel like they're in the same world still.
Yes, they do.
Like, which is really like they're really have a brand that they're I don't know, a vibe for the brand that they're really nailing into that I don't know. I think it's awesome. Like this, like much like the game, like you played the game because you liked Arcane so much, Tim. I'm liking this game so much. I'm gonna go back to Arcane very quickly. You know, like I feel like that world has a really nice gravity pull right now for a lot of people.
Whatever gets you to those action sequences that are just mind-blowingly good.
I know I'm gonna be blown away by it. I didn't get to some of the good stuff.
But they definitely earn, like they make sure to keep you. I don't know. There's definitely a slow build to those action sequences.
Oh yeah,
it's not like right out the gate we're gonna do something amazing, like with that that Echo, is it Echo, the Echo character, or whatever, the guy. Yeah, like that fight being so freaking amazing. Like if you did that in episode 1, blew your load, then it would be kind of like what else is there to look forward to?
I mean, you gotta build
your way to all the cool stuff.
It makes me definitely want more fight sequences in the next season, if it even freaking happens. Stupid Netflix, but
I think that's one that's something. I do think that's a show that unless things completely continue to totally implode, I think that's one they've got prioritized. I could be wrong.
I feel like that was such a huge win for them.
It was.
Yeah. I feel like that's not one that's going to get.
It's just they seem like loose cannons right now. Like
they really do.
They kind of do, but at the same time, I think they're kind of just getting rid of the shows that
aren't doing great.
Yeah, that like they tried one season of, and they're like.
So they even had a Kevin James sitcom that my wife and I watched, and it's very middle of the road. Like it's got like the live audience laugh track sound sitcom where he's
so
like
awkward on Netflix to me. Like it's like
it is, but
it's CBS. What are you doing here?
Listen, it's very Kevin James. It's very CBS. It's it's basically he's part of a pit crew, and so they're on this race team, whatever.
Oh, I recall that. Yeah,
and that got canceled because it just didn't get the viewers. Like Netflix is not the place where a lot of people who want that content are going. So like. I applaud him for trying a lot of different stuff, but then pulling the plug on stuff that is not.
They should have just reined it in like years. It became too much.
Crazy.
Listen, I gotta be honest.
Everything started getting approved.
The list of things they've canceled so far haven't really broken my heart. Like I did like
agree.
Space Force. I didn't love Space Force, but I liked both seasons of Space Force. I did like the second season.
I really feel like it found its footing in the second season.
It's
So
second
not
season
the third season. Yeah, that hurts. Yeah.
When I looked at comment section for that show when it got canceled, not a lot of people liked it. So like, I get it. Like, I mean,
that one I'm not surprised about.
People were way too lukewarm on it. It should have been something way better than it was.
Yeah, with Steve Carell in it. I mean,
and Greg Daniels, the Office guy.
And that creator, the Office guy.
Yeah.
Like it should have been wall to wall laughter, and it wasn't. So
I am glad you're playing both those games. Both those games, Kyle, are ones that I like. I played the full demo for Monster Hunter Stories 2, and I really liked it a lot last summer. And it was one of those ones that I have tabbed as like, I got to get this game and play it.
$30 right now, man. It's
is it only 30?
That's why I bought it. Yeah, that's why I bought it.
And then Ruined King, I did buy, and I played probably 5 or 6 hours. Which, by the way, when you put the game into sleep mode, at least for me on the Switch, it thought I kept playing it. So I remember firing it back up, and it was like, you want to load your 85-hour file? I was like,
what is this? Knights of the Old Republic is like that too. Where like I'm like halfway through that game and it's like, you've been playing this game for 300 hours. I'm like, that's not true.
That's not true.
But that is a really cool one. I'm glad you're enjoying it. And the other games that they have that League of Legends, the whole universe is supposed to have involved for this year is the Echo game. So starring that character Echo from the Arcane show.
Is that the one that I have? I think I have one in my wish list.
It is a side-scrolling game with like some rewind feature.
I'm here for that. Okay.
Like a time control because that little thing in Arcane that he's holding his little watch and it's ticking.
Yeah.
I feel like there's a rewind element, time rewind element that he's going to have, and then also they have an adventure one that kind of reminds me of that movie Abominable, that cartoon.
Okay.
Abominable. So it's like a little kid on a Yeti. Anyway, it's called like the Song of Naru or something like that, and that's another character from the League of Legends universe. So they've got a couple of IPs that they're launching this year.
This is what they needed to do. I was never going to play League of Legends, and now like you have four people here who are like talking about a series.
Dude, I went down a rabbit hole after watching Arcane of just going on their website and reading the lore of their champions, and it's so good. Like the artwork,
that's totally up my alley.
Like I all of a sudden 2 hours disappeared. I was just reading about characters and looking at the official artwork for each one, and I was like, dude, it started with the characters from Arcane. That's what I cared about. But I started reading about these other characters, and I'm like, there's so much here. There's so much here. Yeah.
I know there's a samurai guy in this game. I'm just trying to play up until that point. So
yeah, that guy's cool. Yeah.
The Echo game is called Convergence without the E after the V and the R, so it's like almost like Convergence.
Convergence. Yeah. It sounds like something. It sounds like
not a VR game though. It's like a
Hideo Kojima game.
That game looks cool, and they announced it and they've been quiet on it for a long time, and they apparently have been reworking a whole bunch of it, and so they're making it a much more complex.
I think Ruined King came out to pretty good reviews, so I think like they have a really good track record of just having like I don't know, just that I don't know stamp of approval quality, to any of the things that League of Legends has its name on. So good for them.
Agreed. Cool. All right. Well, I think that covers everything we're playing besides Backlog. Yes, everyone good?
Yeah.
Yep. Thank you. Yeah.
Excellent. All right. Backlog Hall of Shame progress report time. I'll start first. I'm going to keep it P for everybody because I think and by the way, that's keeping it positive for those of you who are like, what are you talking about?
That might be too inside.
You're not talking about penises? Or?
I'm keeping it P.
We're keeping it P, guys. Come on.
So I was assigned
this podcast.
Listen, I was at an advantage because all 5 games that I suggested, I want to play these games. So any of the ones that ended up getting picked, I was excited because I was like, I want to play all these games. So I'm playing Sleeping Dogs. I got the definitive edition off of CD Keys for I think it was like 3 something, or maybe it was 4. I can't remember. But anyway, so I got it off there, and it is the upgraded version that came out about.
You get you get a lot of outfits, right?
It's got a bunch of DLC built into it, and it's got some HD kind of up-res visuals. It's not like a remake, but it does look better than what I remember.
I bought it because of the price. I was like, I can't believe I didn't have this already.
I have the definitive
edition. It's $4. That's crazy.
Yeah, and so yeah, I've been playing that. I'm a good chunk of the way. I'm still in the first area. It's very GTA style where the map is split into a few different sections, and you can kind of see if you look at your map. Okay, I'm going to be like branching out. The story's going to take me to these other sections, but if you want, you can hop on a motorcycle or a car and go explore most of them right out of the gate if you want to. It's funny. There's a couple of big name actors that do some voices. There's Tom Wilkinson, who's not as big of a name now as he used to be, but
your dad begged like a dog. Back
like a dog.
He's like the main cop. At the very beginning,
I need to look up this.
He's
guy.
British though, but yes,
he does a lot of American. He does a lot of American roles.
Or
he was Carmine Falcone.
Yeah, Falcone. Yeah.
Falcone. Yeah.
Got it.
And
this
then,
guy.
And then Emma Stone, a young Emma Stone, was the
Yeah.
voice
Yeah,
of the main,
bananas.
the main blonde American girl.
Oscar winner Emma Stone. That is so
Oscar
crazy.
Winner Emma Stone is in a video game playing.
All the performances are good, man. Like I'm not finding
The game
myself
is
like
awesome.
cringing and going like, ooh, like even some of the side characters where it's very like, is this racist? You know what I mean? Like I have those moments where I'm like, am I allowed to play? Like, but
your
it's
white
well
guilt
done.
kicking in really hard.
And I feel like I'm really there. And they do a cool job of mixing in like the like English combined with them kind of just flip-flopping back and forth between English and Chinese. And it's just very, very interesting, man. I'm really digging it. It is funny to all of a sudden have the ridiculously good-looking American blonde show up in this alley where you happen to live. Like, can you help me find this temple? Like, but she's also like, she's super into you right away. I don't know. There's a lot of that's kind of like mid 2000s video game. That's what it feels like.
Yeah,
sure.
So
it's a very Hong Kong action movie too. Like that's a pretty tropey thing where it's like the foreigner from out of town's like in love with like the new undercover gangbanger or whatever. I don't know. It seemed kind of tropey to me in that
right. But the combat is very cool. Like some of the combos that you can do and the stuff you can unlock and the countering. Like it's certainly not like pixel perfect or button perfect. There's a lot of jankiness and like I was doing some of these kind of fight pit contests that open up as an optional
thing.
Those
can get hard. Yeah.
And yes, they can get difficult, but there's also times when it's like, all right, I did counter that guy. Like it's just not it's just not it gets a little janky as the characters get all around you. Mm-hmm. And so it's not like if you think about the Batman Arkham Knight, which was the last Batman game I remember playing with the combo system, or even with Spider-Man from a couple years ago, or Miles Morales, like the way they set up just the fast, fluid, it makes you really appreciate all the combos and counters. And it's like when you played something that smooth, you think about a very counter-based system. This doesn't quite do that.
We've come a long way with that.
That being said, it's still very competent and actually quite fun. So
I beat it just last year, like for the 10th time, and was like, wow, this still feels good. But yes, like there's some times where you're like, well, we've come a little way, since we created this type of game engine. But
and for people who are super picky about the driving feels very lightweight compared to some games where, like, if you play Mafia 3, all the cars feel insanely heavy, and like taking a corner is crazy. And you play a game
even
like
the Mafia remake was like.
Yes.
Jesus.
You have to go 10 miles per hour.
These cars are so heavy. Even in the Mafia 3 where it's set, I think in the 60s or 70s, where it's like, oh my word, taking this left turn is such a chore. Whereas this, it's very arcadey, and you can kind of like, like everything's super easy. So like, anyway, but it works, and I'm really liking it. So this is a good pick, and I'm excited to get through this.
It's got a great story too. Like
story's fun.
Yeah, it really goes to some places you've seen before because you've seen an action movie or a Hong Kong action movie, but like it's an ode to that, and I feel like
it reminds me of there was I think it was a series of movies called was it Internal Affairs or something, and it was about
Affairs.
Yeah, something like that. Where there's a series of them, and it was like corrupt cops and the Yakuza and all this stuff.
I don't know if Infernal Affairs was remade into The Departed. I don't know if there was more than one of those though.
I feel like there was a series of them. I
think I know what you're talking about, but I can't.
Might be something different. Yeah, but it's like cops versus triads.
Like John Woo type stuff.
Yeah. And it totally works. And there's a couple of twists and turns that have already kicked in, and you can kind of see you're going to work your way up to the boss, the main bosses, and all this stuff. So
it's one of those like, are you becoming, which life are you really becoming, or which life is the real you? I like that stuff.
So it's like Dances with Wolves. I'm just kidding.
It's exactly like Tom Cruise's Last
literally Dances with Wolves.
It's literally James Cameron's Avatar, guys.
That's exactly what
everybody get excited.
Trailer before Doctor Strange, guys, get ready.
So I'm playing.
I'm showing up late, just
when I close my eyes. I'm gonna close my eyes.
I'm playing Pocahontas in Hong Kong, and that's the storyline. Just kidding.
But the tribal people, they're so great, you know. The
So I'm really digging it. That was a lot of fun. Who wants to go next? Who wants to give an update on your Hall of Shame progress? Even if you only played a little bit, that's fine. It's week 1. What do you got?
I'll go. I got BioShock. I got the remastered edition because I'm not some fool. Apparently, past me, Ernie had a feeling that I would have to play this trilogy at some point. I'm not committing to the trilogy, just the first one for now.
Fair.
So I already bought these games. They were just sitting there in my library, unattended. So, 40-year-old virgin quote for everybody. I have not played it that much at all. According to Steam, it's like 70-something minutes. I'm in there's like an area. Obviously, it's in the very beginning, but the game
good opening. Great.
Isn't really that long to begin with. I think it's like 12 hours or something. 14. Not that long.
The game overall, yeah.
Yeah. So I'm kind of in the beginning area ish, where like you're in the medical area and you're trying to get telekinesis. So that's my mission right now. So I'm trying to get telekinesis so I can go follow some surgeon that just ran away from me. Yeah. So I like the ability stuff. I don't know. I think the swapping between the powers and the weapon, like the actual weapons, guns, and melee weapons, just isn't that fluid for me.
It's clunky. Yeah.
It's a little, and it could be just because it's an older game, and I should not obviously punish for that. I don't know. It just could be a little faster for me.
I think Infinite feels the same way, and that game's like 8 years older. So
Infinite really feels the same way.
I remember there being some kind of.
It's smoother. It's smoother in Infinite, and it's also way smoother in Dishonored. So those games all have some similarities with the way that you swap skills and abilities and weapons, and that was certainly like broke ground.
Yeah,
but it's a little clunky. I agree.
I still like, and the shooting feels like garbage in this game. I'm not even gonna lie to you guys. Like, I wish there was a button for me to zoom in or something.
It feels old, yeah.
But you're just doing this and shooting and hoping for the best. It's
especially when you have like 8 bullets and they're running at you, and you're like, no.
I think melee is definitely the way to go in the powers, right? In the first BioShock.
If you can help it, sometimes you shock somebody and he's still shooting a gun at you, and you're like, well, what the hell?
But if you shock someone who's in water, then you can shock everybody.
I love doing that. That's the best. Shocking them in water and just watching them collapse. It's so great.
Dude, do you I wonder what you think about the setting and like when you first are in the ocean and you go down and all that. Do you like that?
It's so freaking cool. I love that it's like, I think you start in the 60s, right? So it starts in the 60s. You're in a plane, smoking in a plane, naturally, as literally everyone did back then. And the plane goes down, and there's not even like any investment at all into who this person you're playing as at all. That's not how it starts, pretty much. So you swim to this like random building that you landed near.
Not just a building.
It turns out
it's a lighthouse.
Further you go.
Yeah, Kyle was like,
here's my lighthouse.
I'm so sorry. God.
Gravitational difficulties.
Yeah, I don't know.
Kyle, is there a lighthouse?
Who are listening? If you're just listening, Kyle's got webcam issues, and it keeps
so many. It keeps drifting. Down. I got that Joy-Con drift in my.
Sorry. Go ahead, Jeff. That was hilarious.
Further down you go, you discover like an entire like settlement that this Elon Musk type person built a long time ago.
I mean, I guess,
alternate reality.
I'm not wrong. I mean,
yeah.
And then he became a little too big for his britches, and thinking he has a little bit of a god complex, and a
little bit.
You're mostly interacting with somebody who is a part of like a resistance, I guess, and trying to help you along the way. And he's like, "You're our only chance at fighting against Ryan's, whatever." And of course, it kind of feels like a horror game almost in many regards.
Adjacent, yeah.
Because I'm kind of like sneaking around corners, going, "Is there a person there? Oh, is there a person there?"
I mean,
and you can hear the noises.
The first creature that's on your thing and kind of like creeping around, like that was kind of scary at the beginning when I
think the whole vibe is pretty scary to me.
You're in a city underground. I mean, not underground. Sorry, in the ocean, like deep down in it. Like that's a pretty like people have actual. There's an actual term for that. There's like I forget what it is, like an actual phobia term, but yeah,
dude. One of my favorite moments.
Sound design is very clearly steering towards a horror type of genre, because I mean you can hear laughter, talking,
and the lighting,
and like just even the creepy like
the lights will go out.
New Year's Eve when everybody like lost their minds and started killing each other, and like they're all addicted to the substance, and like it's a dark vibe.
The lighting is a big piece too, because like even early in the game, as you come around a corner, they cast a shadow of this lady looking at a baby carriage. Like,
oh yeah, I remember.
They used lighting in some really clever ways, and that.
I immediately my Last of Us training kicked in. I just stealthed my way up to her and just killed her.
Smart.
I was like, I don't even care about your story. I don't care that you're trying to give me a jump scare right now as a game. I'm just gonna sneak up to her and kill her. I don't trust her.
Did you see what's in the carriage? Did you get the gun out of there? There's a gun in there.
Oh yes, I think I grabbed that. Yeah,
it was like this.
The game wants you to grab that. Yeah, so I totally did. There is one part where like I was just rounding a corner looking for. I actually ended up finding an upgrade for hacking. And as I'm heading towards the corner, you can see a shadow of somebody, and then the lights go out, and I immediately went nope and ran away. So the lights apparently going out's a regular thing, because then it happened again like 5 minutes later.
Big daddies are stressful too. Like when they show up, you're like, oh boy, like it's stressful. Yeah.
I'm digging it so far. It's just me in horror games. It's not that I'm scared to play them or anything. It's just like they're
stressful, man.
They're much more stressful than any other gaming experience.
Yeah,
just all the time. It's not like this one level is stressful. It's like the entire game is like.
See, to me, I think the Last of Us comparison is actually good, because it's horror adjacent, like Kyle said, where it's like it's not full on completely horror, but boy, is there enough there that you're going to be kind of like tense, maybe grinding your teeth, like it's, and you're like, you know what,
even against other humans that are.
I got to play a little Kirby to calm down.
Cannibals or whatever.
Seriously, like The Last of Us, Resident Evil Village, those were like I could play 2-hour chunks, and I'd be like, okay, I'm done, and I love those games, but like those aren't all day players for me. Like I can't exist in that mind frame for that long. So
I can.
I know you're weird, Dan, and you beat all your games and you're MLG.
Well, I was going
to Last of Us I find interesting though.
Well, no, I mean, yeah, absolutely. Sorry.
Well, the second one I find interesting because there's so many open areas that I'm more than okay playing several hours of that game, because I feel like they space out the.
First one's a little more quartery though, right? First one
has a little bit, more... I took more breaks playing the first one.
Yeah. Well, good.
Anyway, Bioshock's good. It's good.
Sounds
so
like
far.
even though you're early on, it's positive.
Yeah.
So far.
Yeah, for sure.
Good. Kyle, I know that you did some catch up today, which, by the way, if you didn't, that's fine. But it's cool that you did. What do you think about? Let's start with the negative one first. They're both negative. Okay.
They're not both negative. No.
Let's start with Skyward Sword, which was kind of your backup option, but you decided to play it anyway, right?
Yeah, I definitely plan to play it more. It's just the tutorial in this game is insane. Like, and that's coming from like I know in all the Zelda games, like it's always like a 2 or 3 hour kind of like opening where you're kind of like slogging your way through to the real game. This has got to be the worst of all of them, I have to say. But music's really awesome. I think the graphics look really good for it being a Wii game. There's a lot I'm really enjoying about it. Like I think it's really charming. A lot of the characters are a lot of fun. I just want to get to like the stuff I haven't gotten to yet. So I'm still kind of working my way through that, but I'm excited to. And I don't hate the joystick stuff. Like I feel like it works good enough. Because I'm not waggling. I'm not doing that. Like you use the joystick to like do your sword. I'm not saying it's perfect, but like it's fine. Okay,
so you're doing like a standard controller that you're holding. You're not.
Yeah,
okay.
I'm using a pro controller. I'm not waggling or anything like that.
All right.
I have tried that, and I was going to bring that up earlier without the sensor in front of your TV.
Yeah. You
uncalibrate constantly while you're playing this game. It's easy. You just hold the controller in the middle of your screen, you press Y, and it'll recalibrate. So it's an easy fix, but like you're doing it a lot because it just loses where it's at, if that makes sense.
So
yeah.
Loses its location all the time because there's not that front sensor that's kind of keeping up with where you're at. So there is a easy fix there. So I'm not saying it's a game breaker or anything like that, but I'm like, ooh, yeah, this is, I'm not going to go through, like, imagine being in the middle of the boss fight and just being like, oh, I have to recenter my controller real quick. I don't want to get caught in that situation. I feel like not dodging, but like block parrying is way easier with a controller than it is with motion controls. And I feel like jabbing is way easier with the controller than the motion controls. Just my opinion, I guess. But I'm really excited to get to these dungeons I've heard really a lot about. I hear the dungeons and bosses in this game are awesome.
Okay. That's what I've heard too.
So yeah, I'm excited to get to that. I replayed the first part of Rats, the video game.
Rats, the video.
Rats.
All rats.
All rats all the time. This game is so incredibly depressing. It's so not the mood I want to play right now. But I remember playing through this first hour again. I'm just like, dude, the way that they're telling this story is so amazing for like being a low budget. Can I even call it that? Like a mid-budget, like B game or whatever. I think that's probably why they got such a huge budget for the sequel, because I think there's a lot of potential and like storytelling in this,
Have you gotten to, because I didn't really truly get hooked until I got through that. So there's an opening sequence and some crazy stuff happens at your main home, and then you get away from there. So it's this girl and her brother that are going through a village. Have you gotten through that part yet? The village?
Yeah,
part?
I've completely escaped my estate.
Have you met? There's two other people you meet. Have you met them yet?
Two other people you meet? No.
There's specifically there's a person that you meet that you first get to do your first upgrades, and there's kind of like a take a breath moment after a pretty crazy sequence in this village.
Yeah.
And that's why I started to go like, oh, this is an actual. I started to go, this is an actual game. Like I can upgrade stuff, and you can get items. Like that's where I started to get kind of hooked on it myself. I don't know.
So I'm right there. I'm knocking at that door right there. Okay. I'm really enjoying it because like stealth is my. I've been playing Metal Gear Solid.
There's a part. I remember a part kind of early on. I want to say like 2-3 hours into it, where like you get into this like old castle and it's like a puzzle area, kind of. I use that term loosely, kind of like Uncharted puzzles. It's not that difficult. It's not that difficult at all.
Sure.
But it's just I noticed there was a lot of going up ladders, going down ladders, having to go over here, move the lamp over here so you can scare the rats away or something like that. Like so that part I remember that being like, oh, this is a good break. Okay, like and then before it gets darker again,
that game opens up in just such a really heavy way, and like I think I have a feeling it's trying to capture you there, and you just kind of stay there for the entirety of the game, which is great. I'm super into that. I just got to put some more time in with it. I'm really excited to play both of these games, really, because they're so opposite. Like Zelda, Skyward Sword is like the jolliest, besides Wind Waker, is like the jolliest of all the Zelda games, and and this game's like dark as hell, like Telltale, Walking Dead season 1, dark.
I mean, honestly, it's Game of Thrones level dark. Like, think of the darkest moments of Game of Thrones, and it's got that level of kind of oppressive, like, ooh, things aren't good. Things are bad.
Wonderful. I'm excited to be across the spectrum right now.
But I mean, I compared to that because it's like something kept me watching that show, something kept me playing this game, and it's the characters.
We like to be uncomfortable. That's why we sign up for scary movies and haunted houses and stuff. We like that feeling of like being uncomfortable or being haunted or whatever.
In this darkness is this kind of unexplored relationship between this older sister and her younger brother who don't know each other super well, and they explain why early in the game.
Yeah, they were kept.
And watching, like listening to them, even as you're walking, talk to each other, and she's very annoyed at him at times, but also protective of him, and he just completely is innocent and relies on her, and it's a very sweet kind of development of that, and that's why some of these games do that great, some of them don't. But I think about games like Brothers or even Last of Us, where you have an ongoing relationship between your two main characters and how that progresses as that progresses through the game. This just does a great job of that, just like some of those other.
It's high praise if you're using this in the same context as like Last of Us and stuff like that. Like Last of Us is like the best version.
Well, I definitely compare it most to the Lee and Clementine relationship in Walking Dead season 1, because even though obviously they're not related, but there is kind of like a stranger element, and then suddenly Amicia like just wants to protect her with everything that she has. Or wants to protect him with everything that she has. So I mean, it's like it evolves over the course of the game, and I love that. Yeah. I love that stuff, and I love some of my favorite stuff in that game is like the I can't remember what religion it is. Is it just Catholicism or whatever? Or
I think so. Like Orthodox
there's like the people that came to the village in the first place were like are part of like a church or whatever, and they follow this crazy weird leader, and like I loved all that stuff because it's like around the time of the plague, and they're they're trying to do stuff, and I loved all that stuff. That was like the Assassin's Creed people, the Templars, basically. That's what
I agree. I forgot what I was gonna say. Not a big deal. Speaking.
I think
of
you
this
were gonna
game,
move on, right?
The demo for the sequel. I
wasn't saying sarcastically. It sounded like you were gonna move on.
I think the demo for the sequel. I wanted to say it because I think I read it somewhere. I think the demo for the sequel is supposedly coming out sometime in May. I could be wrong.
Oh wow.
Oh
Cool.
Man.
Let me. What is it?
Not the full game. I get the feeling that the game is probably getting bumped because they're not ready. But I hear the demo or maybe something like that is supposed to come out in the next 2 months, sometime in the next.
Bro.
Yeah.
You know what? There's also. I don't know if this is in the news or not. It's not. So I'll just say there's also speaking of demos. Well, at least there's going to be a showcase of some kind. The AEW game, guys. Hey, May 4th, I think. There's going to be a stream.
Okay. I was thinking it's going to come out.
No, God. There's going to be.
And maybe we'll get that September release date.
Maybe that'd be amazing, man.
Did y'all watch that? Did y'all watch that Wrestling Quest thing I sent y'all?
Oh yes.
A few hours ago, yeah.
I can't wait for that game, man. That game looks fun.
Man.
And when he said there's a strong style city that's like Japan, I was like, say no more. This is game of the year.
Yeah, I know. The second he said that, I go,
say no
love that.
Like the fact that you're including this much nerdy wrestling stuff in one game.
It looks so fun. It looks really fun.
I can't. And I love the idea of like you have to like keep the meter at the bottom.
Yes.
Like full to like.
Don't just attack the whole time. You have to kind of.
Yeah, you have to like change it up and like make it a show. You're putting.
Dude, this looks full on like Golf Story, but with wrestling. Because Golf Story was a legitimately fun golf game mixed in with like a very weird, quirky little RPG story.
What's happening? Like we're all playing wrestling games now, and like we're excited for 2 more of them, and like this is the weirdest year ever. Like
it's so bananas. Yeah,
like there's 3 of us here who played WWE like 2K, right? So like that's too many people,
and we didn't hate it. Like all of us kind of
all of us liked it.
Fun.
Yeah. I think I put like 12 hours into it that first weekend I bought it. Like I put some time into that story mission, man. Like
I don't think I put that much time into it. Most of my time was just on character creation. So
I think 6 of those hours are characters.
I just love it.
Yeah, exactly. It's a lot.
Sorry to put a damper on the demo thing that you mentioned. It says there will be a demo, but unfortunately you need to be attending the Tribeca 2022 festival in order to play it.
Oh, that's
Jeff, get in. Get in, Jeff.
I didn't know they did games there. That's Robert De Niro.
He's our festival guy.
He's like, hey, come to my show.
Hey, that's a good De Niro face. That was a good De Niro face he did right there. Yeah. Hey, look at that. That's good.
That was pretty good. Yeah.
That's good. All right, so Dan,
voice to match it, but I can't.
Give us a progress report on your. I know you've been finishing other games, so I wouldn't be too surprised if you didn't have a ton of time for Mass Effect Andromeda. But what have you played?
So what I actually do appreciate is that, and I forget. I was reading an article that was like, time trial, 10-hour trial, anybody could play on
for Mass Effect Andromeda.
Yeah, Mass Effect Andromeda. And I thought that was really cool because I thought I had bought it, but I think I had just like I've seen it on huge sale before, and I like almost pulled the trigger because I was like, this is like less than $10. I'll grab it.
I think I've seen it for like $7.
I think it's $7 is what I said.
But I just didn't. I don't know. I was just like, you know what? I'm just not in the mood right now to play it, to give it a shot, and I just didn't buy it.
But it's a lot of controversy around it too, so it makes sense. Yeah.
But 10-hour trial, so that's super cool. I played about 8 hours. So
that's a good amount of time.
Yeah.
A chunky slice.
It is a chunky slice.
It is a chunky slice. So was it Plague's Tale is kind of like sort of about the Black Plague, right? Like rats and Black Plague. Yeah, this is basically the Black Plague of video games. So it's just like it's just a fucking abomination of a video game. No, I'm just kidding.
Wow. Yeah, I was like,
no. So all right.
Wow. This is the BioWare message boards. Where
Mass Effect
what ourselves to?
Mass Effect has a lot of baggage, right? Because a lot of people were super cranky about the ending of that original trilogy, and for some reason, people I think just flat out hated 3, even though 3's actually probably like.
3 plays the best.
It's like the best. It's probably the best one video game wise, right? Like it plays really well. It just feels good to play.
3 does a better job of giving you like that meta thing you're building towards for the ending. Like 2, without a guide, I wouldn't know what to do in 2.
Good point.
3 does a good job of like, you're gonna want to do this throughout the game, build up these resources for a good end. So anyway, continue.
3 is the culmination.
It's the culmination.
This whole, what are they called? Is it the Reavers or the Reapers? It's the Reapers, right? Coming
Reavers
to just
is Serenity.
Yes, sure.
Yeah,
Firefly,
whatever.
And just coming to just destroy the Milky Way and all the terrible things. So like, there was a lot going on in that series, and I think there's a lot to take away that's really enjoyable. But then people just had to be cynical about the ending and blah blah blah. So I think a lot of that carried over into Andromeda, and there was also clunkiness, I think, with that game. I mean, obviously,
it was like their C team, right? Like none of these people had ever worked on a Mass Effect before, and like
right,
the actual team, like the A team, was working on Anthem, so like they weren't even.
I didn't know that.
Game.
Yeah.
I remember what a waste of resources. Sorry,
I know.
Anthem was fine, but like
because it wasn't BioWare.
You chose the wrong. You should have put the C team on Anthem because that was
Anthem wasn't even a swimming in sevens, man. But continue.
But like the thing is, BioWare wanted to make Anthem. That was their idea, so that's why BioWare was doing Anthem, and then they're like, "Well, C team, go do another Mass Effect."
They hired some team of nobodies to make this game, so like that's a big factor.
So
its reception for sure.
You know, whatever clunkiness and sort of quirks it had at the time, fine. They ironed it out. The game now, for me personally, and I'm only playing 8 hours, and it's obviously a lengthy game. It's a sci-fi game. There's a lot going on. The beginning is kind of slow because it's this whole new concept of like, you know, these.
It's introducing a lot.
Yeah, going into this new galaxy, and it's a
lot of exposition.
600 years in the future.
New aliens, new lore going on.
Yeah, all sorts of things going on.
People are awake that shouldn't be, or something like that.
There's just a lot to take in the beginning. It's like this. It really feels like a beginning of something new. So yeah, there's just kind of a lot going on in the beginning. So I didn't get to really do like a ton of different unique things. But like the gameplay, there was a lot of dialogue. Honestly, my main gripe, I enjoyed it for the most part. It still feels kind of just like an okay game to me so far, but I want to play more to kind of have a more definitive opinion on it. What I could not freaking stand is just the movement of your character. I cannot stand the way that Why
I can't stand you. Can we meet him?
No.
Isn't that what everybody loved? Was like the combat in that game?
I want to hear what you mean. What do you mean?
I'm not talking about the combat specifically. I'm talking about I'm holding the analog stick forward as I'm walking around with my character. I release the analog stick. He's still moving for a full second or two. Like, what are you doing?
You mean like when you're walking around? That's why.
Yeah,
when you're walking around talking.
Just moving in general. Like when you're playing a video game, you're playing a video game, it should feel good. So a character just kind of stops when you stop moving. So it just feels.
You're saying it's a little slidey, like on ice a little bit.
Yeah, it's like he's just still moving.
Or latency or something like that.
Yeah, he's like it's like when you're like in an all out like full on running, and then you have to kind of like slow down. Like that's what the character does, but he's just walking. And he's still kind of, and it just was throwing me off. I don't know why. It just really was throwing me off.
To be honest, I didn't recognize that, but now that you said something, I probably will next time I go back. To be honest,
now it'll be like, I can't unsee it now.
Yeah,
well, it's like on How I Met Your Mother, right?
Like the glass. Yeah. So I'm not saying like you're wrong. I don't remember that.
I don't
remember it feeling that way.
It seems like a super nitpicky thing, but what was happening to me is like I was trying to just enjoy exploring the shit when you get to the Nexus, right? And like that whole thing is actually super cool because they're like
that whole why isn't this nightmare of a situation is my favorite part of that game.
It's like why is this not built yet? Why are the lights out? What's going on? I was actually almost anticipating like a horror video game, like a horror game moment, but like that didn't happen, so that's kind of a bummer. But like it just has this creepy vibe to it, right? So you get in there and you're kind of talking to people, and I wanted to like explore around and move around, and I was just finding myself not like doing some of the stuff or checking some of the environments because I just kept like the character just moves so weird. It was just throwing me off just a whole bunch. But that's my main gripe. The combat feels, I guess
you'll get more into it. You still probably haven't done a lot of combat. Like
I'm on that desert. I'm on that like deserty planet.
That's the first planet. Yeah, cool.
Yeah. So I'm on
that. You come back to all the planets like a lot. So
I like the jetpack stuff.
The jetpack's amazing. When you get a chance to hit a bunch of planets and kind of at your own pace and leisure go wherever you want to go, that's where I really found myself stuck in this. And I don't mean stuck in a bad way. I mean in a good way. Like I didn't really want to advance the game because I was having so much fun doing all the side stuff and upgrading everything. And I thought the combat was just a blast. Now, what Kyle was saying too, like maybe if I revisit it, I'll notice what you're talking about with the walking slowdown, or maybe I'll think, this combat isn't as smooth as I remember now that I've played something like Returnal, where I know what it feels like to really slide around smoothly. Maybe I won't like it as much, but I remember really thinking the combat was super smooth and easy to kind of learn.
What did you play on at the time? PC or?
That was on PS4.
Was it? Okay, because I'm playing the
PS4
PS4 version, so I don't know if the PS4 version is just somehow the weakest version. There's maybe some issue with it, or
I think I played
PS4.
That's what I played on last year.
Yeah, that's what I played it on.
Last year,
Okay.
the definitive.
You and I were both
Effect.
playing. Yeah, you and I were both playing it last year after Mass Effect Trilogy.
Yeah. I played it on PS5 last year.
I almost beat it again. Yeah, it was. I really fell.
I got like 13 hours in. I was almost done with. I think I made the air safe on that planet. I was like 13 something hours into it because I just kept doing all the side missions first and stuff.
So are you sort of are you continuing building the Nexus? Is that kind of part of the gameplay?
So every time you come back to the Nexus, it's gonna be a little more populated, a little more.
Okay, so that's cool. I like
more
that.
Wings are gonna be opened up and stuff like that. Yeah, like because when
that
you
gets
show
a
up,
little-
there's been like a mutiny. Like half the people got evicted. You know,
it never has the same vibe as the Citadel, which is massive, but it gets a little more similar to like there's more areas here.
The Citadel and like Mass Effect 1 is like, as much as I love Mass Effect 1, it's one of my least favorite hub areas in any video game ever. It's
so much worthless walking.
So much like corridors that lead to nowhere and elevators that like don't lead to places that you need to go to because you're not at the right wing. You know,
so it's funny that you talk about
really
the
ironed that
movement.
out.
This is not like that.
It's funny to talk about the movement because as much as I loved Mass Effect 1 and 2 and 3's been on hold for a while, I need to go back and finish just so I can say I've completed that trilogy.
Yeah.
But the general movement as you're walking around, the way they do the over the shoulder, and it almost reminds me of Gears of War a little bit, where it's very forward centric and like any kind of like sideways movement or turning can feel a little awkward till you get used to it. Like I found that movement to be something that I would criticize, but it's nitpicky. It's fine. I get used to it. I mean, the same with Gears, where it's like, I have to turn the camera because my idiot can't. I just have to walk forward. I feel like it's very. I feel like Mass Effect kind of moved the same way, and I thought that Andromeda lifted that, and I felt like the movement all of a sudden felt so much better. That's why I'm a little surprised to hear you say that.
It sounds the same to me, to be honest. It sounds like it's like the same thing.
I kind of have the same memory as Tim, you know, like where again, like the moving feels a lot better in this because I know what you're talking about. There's even like a dash button in the original Mass Effect trilogy that's like it's a locomotive,
very Gears of War, kind of Gears of War,
you know.
Like,
but if you need a turn or something like that while you're dashing or doing anything like that, like good luck, you know. But like in this game, I felt like the mobility. I don't know.
When you're aiming,
I don't want to be like, Dan, you have no idea what you're talking about because I have a feeling if I go back, I'll be like, oh, okay, yeah.
When you're aiming with the weapons, it doesn't feel totally like that. But it's just when you're just walking around, or even like when you're running, even when you're just running around in an area, not like actually doing combat. It has this sort of like with newer games, it's like they just make it so your character comes to a full stop because it's a video game and it just feels better to just do full stop. And then you can kind of turn around and it just feels more snappy. You know what I mean? And this doesn't, the movement of this, like just walking around or even kind of like running, it doesn't feel snappy. So it was just really throwing me off because I don't know, maybe it's just I've been playing too many newer games. So like it just feels so the disparity there is just so different to me that it's just throwing me off. But again, I bought the, the Recruit edition or whatever it was. So I bought it because it was on sale. It was like $10. So
I'm interested for you to at least get to the point where you get to the not Normandy or whatever, the Tempest or whatever it's called in this.
Well, I did get on that because you take the Tempest.
Because you got to the first
early.
Yeah. But like, but you don't really get a lot of like what's going on that ship until like you get off that planet. Right. Like more wings start opening up on your ship and stuff like that, and like. I felt like the Tempest was the best version of the Normandy. Like, I really like the sense of space in that ship and stuff like that. There's way less like getting in an elevator and it loading for 30 seconds.
Yeah, because there's like that there's like kind of that circular room and the stairs kind of come down, and then there's just like a hallway and like there's a couple.
You're never really waiting. Like there's a real sense of space like in this one, and it actually feels really good. And finding people like doing like things that they're supposed to be doing on the ship, like it just made sense where people were. Whereas sometimes like I was hunting for people in Mass Effect where I'm like, Jack, what are you doing down here just hanging out underneath like the
and there's a rat
dark room. Yeah, like it's really weird, you know, like. And then maybe sometimes she's off doing something else, like sitting in like the star lounging like place. So it's in this game.
There's also the what's his name? The guy with his name starts with a Z, and he's just hanging out in the trash compactor room. Which while he's talking, you can just like compact the trash and eject it.
In the original ones, or
Mass Effect, Saeed, I think that's in 2.
Saeed.
I think yeah. And he just talks to you,
oh my
and
God.
you can just sit there and like. I thought it would do something. I did it like 20 times thinking like there's got to be something to this.
It doesn't do anything.
It's just 2 buttons you can hit like Let me
That's
compact this trash and let me
He's
eject
like, hey
it.
there, young one, let me tell you about how I murdered a bunch of people on episode
so-
4. And you're like, trash
person.
compacting.
He's talking to you with his aggressive accent about all his violence, and you're like, let me just compact this and send it
Like,
out.
dude, I'm just down here to toss the trash, man. I don't know what you're talking about.
He's there because he's trash. That's why he's there.
And you're gonna start meeting more characters, and I think the characters are really good.
Yeah,
I they're not as good as the original trilogy, but like they're good.
though.
Like,
I think
the
the vibes of the game are not really that like too far off from that original trilogy. It's just
it's
different,
like a different
like,
type of
villain yet?
story.
Dan, have
but,
you seen
like,
the main? Have you
vibes
seen the
are-
main villain yet?
the guy that kind of has that circular thing on his head because your pops kind of communicates with that that thing.
It's not
Yeah.
super. It's not like a super personal story or whatever. But
Yeah,
I
yeah,
found
yeah.
it to be like a pretty straightforward. But I found it to be very fun. Like, here's the bad guy. Here's what he wants to do, and we got.
Yeah, it looks really cool. He kind of has
I like-
I don't care about what's going on with him, but like I like that he has a presence. You know what I mean? Like he's the bad guy, and we're trying not to let him do the bad guy thing.
There you go.
And like
Yeah,
I think there's enough presence there that
the
like
Kretts. I think they're called the Kretts. Are they the only new aliens that you meet, or are there other?
No,
new-
you meet another like species, but you literally meet 2 new aliens in this entire new
okay.
galaxy. So yeah,
Sure.
That's a
Sorry,
major
that's a good
that's a
point.
major complaint that like people did make, and I was like, that you're right
Yeah.
about that. You know?
Yeah, there should be more for sure.
yeah. Like you
yeah.
keep on like showing up on planets, and it's all the people from your galaxy. You're like,
Sure.
why are you here? Like,
Well, it's also because they're trying to like everything's a shit show, right? You
well,
again
when
you
they
show up
exiled,
and
when they exiled everybody
Yeah.
went to the planets that were in the plans to possibly be like habitable, and then they just started
The
living
golden planets?
exile,
Yeah, the plan
shanty
didn't go
tile
well. I
lives.
actually thought the way that they explained here's why this is happening is because the plan went poorly and things are not working like they're supposed to,
right.
and then that's why it's all just kind of this shotgun approach to people,
Yeah.
people and spaceships and parts are where they're not supposed to be. So now you need to help pull it back together. I don't know. I like
Yeah.
it. I thought
That's
it
the
was
part of the story that I really gravitated
Well,
towards.
that's
Was
what
like
I
the
need to get
human,
to.
or not the human, the Milky Way galaxy,
Yeah.
like. So I don't like the cats. Like it was fine, I like having a bad guy, but like the real core of the story for me was all the stuff that was going on with like you and like your people, bringing everybody back together into the fold after living for 60 years, wasn't it, or something like that? Like they'd been there, like they got there way quicker than they were supposed to, or you got there way
Yeah,
later.
I think it's like 60 to
100.
100. Yeah.
So like when you up, like they're pretty settled with how things have been for a while, like for a lifetime, you know what I mean? So it's like it's cool. I really like the whole setup of that game.
Yeah.
I hope it catches you, and
there are certainly elements here that I'm like, there are interesting things going on. I don't know. Again, I don't know if it was just a lot of baggage carrying over from that trilogy, and then some of the clunkiness that was there initially that then they did patch. That really just like people had to be super angry and cynical and sour on, but. Yeah. I mean, I'm playing this version of this game, not the old version, so I can't say,
It's pretty incredible the effect that Mass Effect 2 had on the fandom in general, because they are holding the series to the highest possible standard to where 3 is to them 3 in Andromeda is like just the worst
garbage, right?
Yeah,
right.
Right.
You know what's funny is I hadn't
played
the original trilogy yet. I had only tried the first game a long time ago and didn't really give it a fair shake. And then I played Andromeda and loved it. And I didn't really know much about the original trilogy.
You don't really have to, yeah.
I thought it was I was like, what a fun sci-fi game. Even if it's a standalone game, which it turns out it's probably going to be a standalone experience. Like, I thought that was a lot of fun. What a really fun video game that was. Like that was kind of the way I thought about it. And so
even like the main character gets dogged on a lot, like, oh, he's just some privileged guy or girl who gets picked up because his father
was a girl.
I mean,
like I don't know, I just like it might be tropey, but like it works, and like
I mean, Alex Rider is a pretty like just boring white guy, like he's Alex Rider.
Sure,
no, because Shepard was super interesting and dynamic.
Because John Shepard,
he wasn't,
which is the most biblical boring name in the entire. John Shepard, like get out of here with that.
Shepard was such a one-note Geralt type character that I accepted immediately, and I was fine with it. But for anyone to pretend like that character was so dynamic and interesting compared to Ryder, I'm like, whatever. It's the same character.
Yeah.
I think later on, like actually when these remasters came out, people have kind of started shifting more towards the female Shep, right? They like the female Shep
was
more,
2,
right?
2 and 3 people really like Femme Shep.
The
marketing was towards like
her personality came through
boys
more, right?
only.
Boys only. Yeah, no one choose girls
boys
ever.
Rule girls.
Kick you out of the club.
I think it's interesting that when I made my Ryder a Asian woman. And she's actually very cute. I'm not gonna lie. And so the game made her twin Asian, and the dad is Asian too. But he doesn't.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think that stuff is really cool how they did that.
You did a really good job of making like the dad kind of look like an older version of the mixture of the twins, and like and the game does all that in the back end, you know.
So they didn't do the thing that So I watched part of an episode of Bridgerton that my wife was watching, and I was
sorry. I'm sorry about that. I'm really sorry,
guys. It's bad, but I will say this.
I know.
As I'm watching it, and I'm kind of like, wait, so those two are married, and they had that kid, and it's an interesting approach. I'll say it's interesting. They are completely disregarding the race of anybody. Like anyone could be married to anybody at that time and could have created any kid, and it could be like this race A. Race B somehow created race C, like not even like a mix of the two.
So it's like a white guy, a black girl, and they get an Asian kid type of thing.
Exactly, it's exactly that scenario. Yes.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah. So I was like, okay, that's one way to approach it, I guess. Or there's
it's really
Mass Effect
so funny.
Is that woke? I don't know what that is.
No,
what is that woke
actually,
or what is that?
Believe it or not, Louis C.K. did that in his show Louis, where he did that in his show where the show is about him being a dad while being a comic. And he's got his two kids that are, it's not literally his kids, but like he cast two actors as his kids and they're white as can be. He cast the mom to be black just because she's really good.
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah,
he was like,
she's
just a really good actress. I just didn't give a crap. I was.
That's fine. Listen, that's totally fine.
Man.
That reminded me of that because I remember being like, huh. And I asked my wife that. She goes, oh yeah, the first thing was that way too, where they just, it's not even something they address. So I would actually argue it's not woke because they're not talking about, like, race is not a topic.
Anti-woke. It's
the race of characters isn't even like, they're not addressing it. Like there's no mention of white privilege in this show.
They also don't mention how there are pop songs in the show being played by musicians in that era.
Well, I mean,
he was driver's license by
Knight's
like
Tale
a
did it.
four-string quartet or whatever. You're like, what the hell?
If A Knight's Tale can do it with Heath Ledger and Paul Bettany, then so can Bridgerton.
Well, that was kind of like a quirky, not like
Bridgerton feels like it's trying to take itself a little too seriously compared to Knight's Tale, though. I don't know.
That's fair. That's totally fair. That is not a good show. Even the half episode that I watched.
I got to be honest, this is the longest I've ever talked about that show.
And you're mad. And Kyle's mad.
Well, that's a perfect segue into unpacking.
No.
Basically, just to kind of combine everything together, give Andromeda a shot. If you've never played it, download the freaking trial. It's free. 10 hours. Just give it a try.
10 hours is a long time to figure out if something's vibing with you. Or
Don't sit there and have an opinion about something you've never played. Don't be just some cynical dumbass. Just go give the game a try and then be cynical, I guess, if you want to.
Yeah, I guess.
Well, and there's no limit. So it's like if you're done with talking with people, like on the whatever that's not Citadel, like just leave and go do that stuff's gonna be. There's no timed. There's nothing like that. So like just kind of do things at your own. If you're done being on a planet, you know, like I don't want to be here anymore. We'll go back to the Citadel and get more like missions and go do side missions in space. It's pretty open and it's pretty. It allows you to do a lot of stuff. And I remember that. I mean, that game is like what 60 hours to like how do you remember how long that game was? Like
I want to say I was in the 50 range when I finished it.
It's long, so it's like there's a lot to do, and like if you're tired of doing something, like the game offers things that allow you to work around that boredom.
Give the game a try.
And the online is awesome.
I think I think Dan's take on it is actually like fair criticisms of it from his point of view and how he likes to play games and how he likes to have them in control. It's don't listen to all the overreactions of folks who like have weird hate for Mass Effect 3 and they're just hating on this game for whatever reason. Like, I'm with you. Give it a try. Why not? Give it a try. Hey, I'm going to speak on behalf of Derek, who's not here tonight, about Metal Gear Solid. Trash.
No.
God damn it.
What's going on here?
That's what he would say.
No.
That is I don't think he's going to really enjoy it because if you think about Metal Gear Solid 5 and how that plays and just the modern take on gaming that is, and that it's its own separate thing, it is tough to go back to Metal Gear Solid unless you're in the mindset of this is a PS1 game. Almost think of it like a top-down game in a lot of ways because a lot of the sections have that vibe to it. But I've gone back and played it a couple of times. I still love the way it plays. I think it learn the controls and just figure out the systems and play it. And I think it still plays well.
I think so too.
but I understand someone going back to it after playing, Splinter Cells and other games, and being like, oh, this doesn't play like those.
Maybe it's different for you and I though, because we grew up playing it.
Sure.
Like
True.
where like let's say Jeff, like you start playing it tomorrow, like you don't have the 20 years of it feeling right. So I try and keep that in mind too. That like, oh well, it probably feels good to you and I because
I actually had the jewel
ingrained
case
into
for
us.
it. And I did the thing where you had to look at the jewel case to look at the little radio number to call.
You guys, the internet didn't exist in a way where like it was easy just to jump on and Google what Meryl's number was.
But the fact that it's a little image on the back of the jewel case, it was so mind blowing that I was like, well, I don't have that one yet. And so you dial it up and you're like, oh.
But that game is so crazy. Like that game wants you to pick apart the manual and pick apart all this. It's so bizarre.
Metal Gear Solid 1, 2, and 3 are masterpieces. So just Derek is wrong. Yeah. Derek is stupid.
And 4 too.
We're like how we're trashing his opinion. We don't actually know what he thinks about it.
He's just sitting here like, I actually really liked it.
I actually kind of liked it, but
Vulcan Raven was a good boss fight. Yeah.
All the boss fights are great.
They're great. That's what the whole series is.
What's the deal with Decoy Octopus? What's the deal with Decoy Octopus?
And they're great names too. Great names.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll check in with him next time we get a chance to. I want to hear about some stuff you guys are watching. There's been some, of course, really incredible TV has been coming out. And specifically, I'm curious about, without spoilers, of course, your overall thoughts on how Ozark wrapped up, which just released at the end of this past week, the final set of episodes, which is, I guess, was part 2 of season 4, right?
Yep.
Okay. So, overall thoughts on how they wrapped it up, and obviously keeping it spoiler free because I will watch it at some point when I get my.
And I just have only seen the first episode of the last.
Okay. Section. So you know that it.
That first episode ends wonderfully.
Yeah.
It's a barrel of laughs. I keep hearing.
Neck pacing with this show, like the as fast as it's solving.
No, I mean like
problems. Like
I mean, I'm legitimately happy about what happens at the end of that first episode.
Yeah.
I hear you. That was definitely like a big fist bump.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. That was cool.
Without saying too much, Tim.
Yeah. Trying not to, but it is cool. Like,
it's great. Hey, you guys can do a spoiler cast on Ozark. Do a spoiler cast. There you go.
That'd be really depressing.
A lot to talk about. Yeah.
There is a lot, especially to talk about because Kyle and I finished it, and we both kind of had the same reaction. We had finishing it. We were both like, my immediate reaction was this, but maybe I should sleep on it, and then sure enough, sleeping on it led to us having a different reaction.
We had a very big conversation this morning that we'll keep to ourselves until y'all catch up, that like really maybe not reframe, but like speaking things out loud made me feel a lot different from the ending than watching it in real time, if that makes sense. So it's one that like it kind of like, not that anything was like this, like
there's nothing like slapping you in the face or giving you a middle finger to the fandom like Dexter or something like that. There's nothing that's like, come on. Yeah, I said it. There's nothing
you
where like
you and I have not had an actual conversation about Dexter. The ending of the new season is better than the original ending.
There's not. No, it's not. It's terrible.
Yes, it absolutely is. It absolutely is.
Where he sloppily kills a cop in the finale for no freaking reason, and then
because he's rusty, he hasn't murdered anybody in 10 years.
Ozark.
He hasn't killed anyone in 10 years. He doesn't know what he's doing.
There's none of that where they're insulting. What I'm trying to say is there's nothing in that in the finale or in the entire final season that's insulting the viewer's intelligence to what the characters what the characters to be basically. So I don't feel it was just. The show's just designed to get a visceral reaction out of people.
So
you're definitely going to feel that.
And I had one. I had a very visceral reaction. I go, I got to sleep on this.
Hey, did they randomly at the very end just remove that blue-gray filter from everything, and you got to see the? No, they didn't do that.
Yeah, no, everything. Actually, everything was really green. It was really. It was really beautiful at the end.
Actually, it was weird. Like somebody from the neighborhood goes up to Marty Bird and. They're like, what is your name? And he's like, Marty. And he goes, what's your last name? And he goes, Skywalker. It's really weird.
Really weird. Marty
Skywalker. Oh, boy. Okay, overall, thumbs up, thumbs down on the way the show wrapped up.
Major thumbs up.
If you liked it this far, please watch it.
It's one of my favorite shows ever. Like I really liked it a lot. It's up there for like Breaking Bad with me. I think me and my friend JD were talking, and it's just like these two like crime drama TV shows are really like entered into the scene and exited out of the scene flawlessly, in my opinion. Where like they went in and left as strong as they could be, and like we'll remember these shows forever. And Michael Bateman can direct his ass off.
Jason Bateman.
Yeah, Michael Bateman.
No. Can you not?
Sorry,
Is my name wrong? No.
It's funny. Those were two very different reactions, though. So Kyle gave it 2 big thumbs up and said one of the best. And Jeff said, if you've gotten this far, it's worth finishing. So those are two very different.
Because I think that people, I mean, I think it's great though. Like I did love it. Yes. But I think that people just need to finish it out to decide for themselves how they feel about it.
Yeah. I think mileage is going to vary how people are going to feel about it.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll see.
Yeah, because who's gonna stop? Like, what is it, 3/4 of the way? Like,
I don't know.
I don't know who would.
There's no nice stopping point in the show where you're like, I think I could just never go back to the show.
They always end, and the humor in this
everything's a cliffhanger.
Batch of episodes too is like tops. Like there's
and
Dan saw it too, where this isn't really a spoiler. Where Jason Bateman says to Wendy, Laura Linney. Where he's like, you're acting emotional, and she's like, the way that she acts, like it was the funniest thing. I will rip your face off.
And he's like, all right. I mean, I just had to say it.
Ruth has a really good quote this season. Ruth is so fantastic. Which isn't it's not a spoiler or anything. She goes, she's talking about Wendy. She's playing chess and you're playing fucking Candyland, and it's the best quote ever.
Dude, she is
fantastic.
fantastic.
She kind of nailed her cadence too. That was good.
Yeah. Candy. Yeah, she's fantastic. Dude.
Yeah, she's a great actress. I think she's in that Inventing Anna thing that just came out too.
Yeah, that's another one. That's like,
what's the deal with that? My wife was like saying she's like, I couldn't even continue. She watched like the first episode or half of it. She stopped.
There's an episode on the HBO documentary series of the con artists.
Yeah.
There's an episode about her. So if you want to learn like the real life story, you can watch that. There's an episode of there, and
she started. I should say she got her break kind of in The Americans. She played one of the Julia Gardner, the actress who played Ruth.
Okay. I was like, Anna didn't. Okay. Yeah.
She was in The Americans. She played the one of the marks that to the husband or the father character. Like he would dress up in costumes or whatever and be like her lover basically, even though she was like way too young for him. She was like she's supposed to be in the show like a teenager or whatever.
Yeah.
Well, she is,
so it's a really uncomfortable relationship. But there's like a whole it's for Russia. It's from Mother Russia, guys. Americans is really good. Highly recommend that show.
If you do watch Inventing Anna, she's got a really weird accent, and it's because the real life girl had an kind of unplaceable accent.
Yeah,
she couldn't handle the accent for some reason. And
that's how she talked though. Like
no, that's not the actress's fault. She was legitimately sounds just like
because I've seen the same complaint that it's like, I couldn't finish that show because her accent's so bad. I'm like, what the real person was doing a fake gross accent.
She just didn't like the sound of her voice because her accent is.
It's like not being able to finish The Disaster Artist or something because you're like Tommy Wiseau's accent.
Yeah, Tommy.
It's like that's how he talks, man. It's like
this is a dumb Tim moment. I gotta admit. Speaking of accents, I remember watching Blood Diamond and being like, Leo DiCaprio is doing a really bad British accent. This is really bad. And I wasn't super familiar with the South African accent. I wasn't. I had a lot of people use it.
That's the accent because of colonization, years and years of colonization.
I heard the real South African accent, and I was like, all right, he actually kind of nailed it.
He actually did really good.
He did.
Actually crushed it.
My when I leased apartments, like one of our tenants called me Jiff. Hello, Jiff. See how you're doing today? Like,
so maybe
what are you talking about? Why are you talking weird?
Maybe these guys will do an Ozark spoiler cast at some point.
I mean, I'd be down for that. It's a lot. It's a lot to like.
There's a lot to process by the end for sure.
Yeah, we'll keep it spoiler free for now, especially since it's so fresh. But Tokyo Vice also wrapped up, which is a show that's on my queue for HBO Max. I keep hearing great things about it.
Kyle brought it up in the last episode. I just wanted to rehash it here because it finished. And if we don't get season 2, we're going to burn HBO headquarters to the ground.
I'm going to stop watching TV if this show doesn't get a second season.
I like how we have to find the most dramatic response.
Yeah. I will literally
I will cut my ears off.
I will point my camera down.
I will point my camera. Oh, let's do it again. Sorry. Okay. Thanks for bringing this one up, Jeff. This show is like my favorite show on TV right now. I think it's so fun. I don't think it's the best show on TV. I think there's so many other great but like it's hitting so many notes for me that I'm really enjoying, and like the way that it ends. Because I thought this was going to be like a one and done seasoner.
I thought it was a miniseries too. The way they
and like the way that I'm like, oh, so nothing is wrapped up. Cool. So I'm great. And the main character has some Me Too stuff going on with him. So I don't know. Like this whole show feels like it's in trouble to me. So like I have a feeling we're gonna get a second season. But like I thought it was awesome. I don't know what the viewership is like on the show. I don't know how people are locking it. The cast is out of this world. Everybody's awesome. There's an authenticity to everything that's just so perfect. And I thought even though it was a cliffhanger, the way that it ends, like the whole, like this was a great ride of television and a year full of amazing television this year. So
yeah, I keep track of like, okay, here are my favorites of the year, and TV's already like at 35 shows that are like, it's
so stupid. I'm in the 20s, and my top 10's rough because things are like, I got to bump like, oh, how do I get this on here?
I keep saying I'm gonna rank it later, but I know I'm gonna like, oh man, I forgot about whatever. Like by the end, I don't know.
You guys would really like it if y'all like crime drama at all. In the vein of not unlike Ozarks and stuff like that. It's all kind of the same kind of drama like feel and vibe and stuff like that.
Dan, you like Japan stuff or whatever.
Racist, it's 1990. It's 1999 Japan, so it's like a nostalgic Japan. They
say
arigato gozaimasu. Play any Dragon Ball Z episodes during the?
They sing Backstreet Boys.
Yeah.
That was the same thing.
That was actually a funny scene. That was
same. It's the same thing.
Those are the two same things: Dragon Ball Z and Backstreet Boys.
By the way, speaking of boy bands, it's gonna be my.
God damn it!
Oh man, I hate that.
Shut it down.
That's right. By the time you're listening to this, it already is May.
It is.
Actually, that's true. We just time traveled to the next month.
I want to hear about your reaction to the Uncharted movie, which you got totally legally and access.
Yeah, I totally watched it legally. The way that Nate Drake wanted me to watch it. So. Yeah. I went into it expecting this.
This movie belongs in a museum.
I expected this. I went into it going, "This is going to be terrible. This is going to be one of the worst video game adaptations I've ever seen." It's not that, but it's not good. Like, I mean, it's fine.
Would you rather watch Aquaman or this movie?
Good question.
How much poop on beds is in Aquaman?
Let's say 0. Let's say there's
now
0.
they don't have beds underwater, so
sure.
They just float away.
Just floating.
They do have octopuses playing drums though in freaking Aquaman though.
Okay, no. How about this? Would you rather watch more Uncharted or more Tomb Raider starring Mike Kinder?
I would rather watch more of the Johnny Depp Amber Heard trial. No. Now that I've talked about poop on beds.
Dude, what a weird thing. That whole thing is weird.
Gosh, that's tough because that Tomb Raider, that second one is never going to happen. I feel like they keep changing directors and stuff and delaying it. I think I would take more of this. I'm going to be honest. I think I would take more of Uncharted.
You don't want more bike riding and.
But is it fair to compare those two where they're not excellent?
Because they're both trying to do the same thing, kind of.
I feel like
but this one's actually funnier. Like I did remember moments where Sully and Nate are like at each other's throats because this is them first meeting, so they're not really getting along great. It's just out of obligation, basically. And I think some of their back and forth is actually pretty funny.
Okay.
And that kind of surprised me because I went into it going, Marky Mark's just phoned in. He's terrible in this. And he is phoning it in to some degree, like you can tell in some scenes.
Well, he was supposed to be
he's having fun with Tom Holland. So, I mean, he's having fun.
Yeah.
So
that's cool.
You know, you can kind of feel it there. The villain ended up being kind of a nothing burger, which is a real shame. You cast Antonio Banderas in it, and then like, I don't know.
And that's like not what Uncharted is not known for having nothing bad guys. You
exactly.
know? Like, by the end of every game, you're like, I want to kill this guy so bad.
Yeah. Like, dude. I mean, even to date, I still remember Rafe. Like, just Rafe is, that I played that game a lot. It's just that villain is just tops douchebag. It's just tops.
Yeah. He was created to be hated, you know.
And it's also very personal with that story.
It is.
Yeah.
And it goes back a long way.
Some of that personal stuff, I do respect them introducing the brother in this one instead of
who played his brother?
Because what?
Who played his brother?
It was they just showed his face in flashbacks, but
okay.
So they still have an opportunity to cast him as somebody,
like a Jonas brother or something.
Yeah, Nick Jonas. He's actually not a bad actor, so why not? He was all right in the Jumanji movies. So I do like that they did that right away because it wasn't like a by the way I have a brother situation. It was like my brother's already existed in my life and impacted my life in certain ways where I hunt treasures now because of him.
What about Chloe? Was she all right?
Chloe was okay. I've never seen that actress before in my life.
Okay.
It's all right.
Cool.
I don't. She's okay. The action
because like
was
she's
okay.
like a fan favorite, like in the series. Like everyone loves Chloe.
Yeah.
You know, like
she's not as I don't know. She's just not as charming, like at all, as the real Chloe and the real Chloe in the game.
Digital Chloe in the games is like a female version of Nate. Like she's very witty and very funny.
Yeah, she's sassy, but
sassy,
like charming. Yeah,
like Nate. Nate's all those things too.
Yeah, sassy and charming, very much so. Yeah.
And the action, like it's supposed to be. That's the big thing about the Uncharted games is like the action set pieces and stuff. They're fine in this. They're fine.
Okay.
All right. I thought the plane thing was actually kind of well done for a live action version of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
But Mission Impossible already kind of did something cool with that. So
sure.
You know, so it's
Dude,
like
the last couple Mission Impossible movies have the most insane set pieces. Like they just crushed it.
He literally clung to the side of a plane on the fifth. And then the sixth one, there's a helicopter. They're jumping out of one. You know,
there's a helicopter fight.
Dude, Tom Cruise is an insane person. Tom Cruise is insane.
It sounds like that carried over into Maverick because they screened it at CinemaCon this week, and people are just head over heels calling it like one of the best blockbusters ever.
Dude, that newest trailer got me hyped for that movie. I'll be honest with you. Like, I really want to.
I got to see it in IMAX because I want to feel that in cockpit.
It does look like a lot of fun. Hopefully it's good. Last thing we got that I have on the list here is Barry, which I keep having recommended to me as well. Not just by you guys, others have recommended it too. So Dan, I know you're just experiencing this for the first time, and I think Jeff and Kyle have already watched it.
Yeah, we're watching it week to week now. Yeah.
Dan, what are you thinking about it?
Because season 3 just started. Wasn't aware that HBO is doing episode to episode. Freaking archaic douchebags.
Everybody's doing it.
That's the best way to do it now.
No, it's not.
Really is. Yeah, there's so much TV that it's the only way to keep up, bro.
Listen,
had you already watched the show before, Dan?
No. Listen, you can release all the episodes, and you can watch week to week if you want, and I'll watch it how I want to watch it. All right, so you could do it that way.
The idea of it being the best is objective, but I think business-wise, it probably is smarter. But anyway, to do week by week, I mean. So like the way Disney is doing it can be annoying, but also we're used to it now, and it's a very smart business.
It's how HBO does it. HBO Max does it on their originals.
This isn't a cable box. We don't have cable boxes back in the 90s. It just retains
subscriptions. Right? That's all I'm saying.
I don't care about it. Well, Netflix is losing subscriptions. So.
That's because of the binge model.
Yeah.
But
anyways,
is it because of? Okay, pause.
It could be.
I don't think that has anything to do with it. I think it's because of their content is going. That's what I think. I think their content.
If Ozark came out week to week like that, you would guarantee people 3 months of subscribing, you know, but now you're only guaranteeing 1 month.
It's like 1 day maybe.
It's possible, but like I think you're still getting a mass exoduses because of
like I think we settled when we talked about this exact thing a few days ago that it was like multiple different factors.
There's multiple factors.
Yeah.
I
mean, like
I think binging is just not as popular. I also think the content and the pricing is a big one too. The pricing is probably the biggest one.
I think that is the issue. But anyway, so Dan, what do you think about Barry?
It is a preference for sure, because I would not subscribe to something unless it had all the episodes. Then I would subscribe and be like, now I can watch how I want to watch. So I mean, everybody's different. But Barry's super weird. It's like, would you say it's like dark comedy? It's dark comedy, right?
Dark
That's
comedy,
what it is.
Yeah.
It's like 1 minute, it's like you're laughing, and then like literally somebody's
the elevator pitch.
Right the
elevator pitch itself is dark. It's like, well, this hitman, you know, he's a hitman, kills a lot of people, catches the acting bug, wants to start acting. Like that in itself is ludicrous.
It's so weird.
Like,
it's so
weird. A ludicrous premise, you know.
Because it just opens up like you see a guy on the bed and he's got a bullet thrown through his head, and why can't I think of his name? Barry's name.
Bill Hader.
Bill Hader,
sorry,
thank you. Bill Hader.
Sorry, Bill Hader.
Bill Hader, yeah. I mean, like this dude's from S.
talks like this.
Yeah, my bad.
Dude's from SNL.
I was thinking of Murderville.
Yeah,
he is. Yeah.
Like, and look at him and like just the range on this guy in the show, because it's like he does have kind of like some moments where like there's like that comedy of like sort of reacting to someone, and like you could tell like they had to do a few takes because he probably like cracked up. Like I was actually watching some of the at the end of the episode.
So much.
Like there's that one part where the guy gets shot on the roof. and he responds to the bald dude Hank in some way where he calls him like
Hank,
Dick Hill something. He says something back at him, and apparently they had to do quite a few takes because he said it like off the cuff, and it made him laugh. But
improv a lot, yeah.
Improv. But it's just the range on the guy is fantastic because it's very.
And he
much
writes and directs a lot of these episodes.
Yeah, the episodes that he directs, when it shows directed by Bill Hader, I'm like, shut up, bro. Is there anything this guy can't do? Jeez,
dude, I'm telling you, a lot of these guys who go into comedy first, like they've got an incredible, like even Will Forte, who we talked about earlier. Like if you saw him in that Sweet Tooth series, he has a brief role in Sweet Tooth.
Yeah, he's the dad.
Yeah. So like these guys can deliver on the dramatic side. A lot of them can. A lot of them. So
I was trying to remember the name of the episode that I was talking to you guys the other day.
Ronnie.
Yes, Ronnie and oh my god. just that episode alone is like, I mean, they could have made that a movie, just like stretched it out and like just have it escalate and escalate.
You want to know some fun trivia about that? That premise was just supposed to be the opening of the show.
Oh,
and then they basically just stretched out the joke.
Yeah, they just kept going with it, right?
Yeah.
Dude, she's sitting up there like a gargoyle. Like it's
a different energy than the whole rest of the show. Like it's so weird like that episode.
But it's very well acted, great characters. It's funny, and then it's just like some dude's getting his head blown off, and then like it's funny again, and then it's violent, and it's just so back and forth, and it's just really well done. I don't think there's really a moment in the show at all where I'm like kind of like, that didn't need to be in there. That was kind of lame. That was boring. Like it's just really well written, well acted. It's just really fun moments, and then just like crazy moments again because he's a hitman. So obviously
and this show saved his career. He was considering quitting like entertainment because he got pigeonholed in as like the impersonation guy. And anytime he was getting any roles or anything, they're like, "We want you to do your impersonations and your silly voices." And he was kind of just getting tired of that stuff. And then he was given the opportunity, like he had this show he was writing, and like I don't know who picked it up or how that facilitated, but like this show like got him out of his like creative funk.
I did really like him in both Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs movie. Both of those animated movies.
Was he in?
Yeah.
He's Flint Lockwood.
Oh, is he? Okay.
He's hilarious.
He's got great voices, man.
Dude, those movies are fantastic.
Those movies are both
he helped write South Park for multiple seasons, so like he's a comedy master.
Still is a consultant on that every night because it's kind of like one of those consultant jobs where he can pop in and out whenever he wants.
Like you literally just
he still does sometimes. Yeah.
I super love the Hank character.
That
dude is
Hank,
hilarious.
Body. Yeah, he's my favorite character in the whole show.
He's just like he's Chetnian, right? And it's like it's a mafia, the Chetnian mafia, but he's just like super chill and he likes to be nice and he's a nice guy and he's trying to order like a table from Amazon, but they don't have a cocaine like table or something from Amazon, but like they don't have that on Amazon, so he's like calling whatever website that he's calling to be like, "Do you have table for cocaine?"
That dude made chicken, I guess to use a wrestling expression, chicken salad out of chicken shit, because that gig was not supposed to be as pronounced as it was. It was just supposed to be like a bit part, and because he killed everybody on set, like he every line he slayed, and the crew loved him.
He's like the second
writers loved him.
Show.
He's like, exactly. Now he's like second lead, basically behind Barry's girlfriend, whatever her name is.
So I looked up the guy who plays this character, Hank, and I had seen him before. Yeah, and guys, awesome. I just wanted to say we got to be careful what we say because he was diagnosed with alopecia. So
oh no,
we just got to be careful.
Get out of here! Why is he so bald?
Damn it, Kyle.
Will?
Will?
Oh man.
Yeah, and you got
NoHo Hank's name.
Yeah, out of your mouth.
You got the Fonz in there. The Fonz is in this show.
He's so good in this show. Oh my god!
Especially going into the second season, right? Because obviously there's some events that happen going into the second season. So like there's kind of like that emotional like
Henry Winkler's amazing.
Yeah,
Henry Winkler is amazing, and he's been getting these like comedic bit roles forever. Like Arrested Development, he played the lawyer,
Or Parks and Rec, where he's the doctor.
Exactly. Like he always shows up like in these like super hyper hilarious like roles like in his late career.
But this one's a bit more serious, especially going to the second one.
It's asked more of him. He's still zany and weird and wacky, but like there are moments that are asked way more.
There's a really
like
funny
him and
moment.
Barry, right?
it's like a very serious moment that you've kind of waited the whole episode for in season 3's premiere.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then there's like a little like joke in there that, oh my god, dude,
Yeah,
some physical humor that like
if you're talking about where they're sitting at the desk with each
other,
that I laughed so hard at that, because it's a really tense moment, and then they just like unravel it with comedy. And
but that's what this show does. It does that really well. It rides that line of like, again, it's just it's pretty violent at certain parts, and then it's just like, you're just laughing at just some dumb nonsense
it toes a line that no other show toes at all. Like you're not getting this feeling from any show that's on TV. So it's just
a lot of what you're
unique.
describing reminds me a lot of my experience with Mr. In Between, which I know none of you have seen, but I'm not saying it's as good. I'm not saying that, but it just
sure. Same sounds like the same vibe.
Very weird because he's a hitman who also has to deal with family stuff, and there's a lot of dark humor that pops in. It's not a comedy, but there's a lot of moments that are like, I shouldn't be laughing.
That's the thing. I have a hard time describing Barry as a comedy, even though it gets nominated in comedy categories.
Sure.
Because the drama is very real and the tension is real.
Yes.
Yeah.
But the humor is very dark, but it still plays really well. Like you still identify it as
you're really wrapped up in what's
like
happening. Not like, oh, I can't wait for the next joke. You're like, I have to figure out what happened, like with this particular thing. Yeah.
Like what's his girlfriend's name that just keeps trying to like, she's an actress and she's trying to get roles and she's finally getting a role, and he's just sitting there waiting for her in the lobby, and that guy comes out. And he's like, you're okay. So you're her boyfriend, right? How tall are you? So, and then she comes out and he's like, yeah, he just gave me his card. I think I'm going in for an audition with the director.
And she works so hard.
And she works so, which is like kind of also, leaning into the whole, like how it's harder for females to get into movies and that whole thing. And he's like, yeah, he just asked me how tall I was and I'm going to go meet the director to be in this movie.
And he's so like naive and stuff and ignorant of
the
struggles in the industry that he's just like, like he's not even identifying it as a struggle for her. He's just like, I don't know. And he just wants to be
because again, his life has been like, I'm a hitman. This guy took me in, from the military, and I'm a hitman, and he's trying to lean into this thing because he just happened to walk into a room where they were doing a scene, because obviously there's a reason why he's going into that building, in the first season, and it just all accidentally he just falls into this whole like, I'm gonna do this acting thing. But he's a hitman, so
it's too good.
It's very interesting, very fun to watch. It's intense, funny. It's all sorts of things.
I'm so glad you're watching it, man.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah.
All right, well, let's wrap things up with a few headlines. We do know that Sony, they clearly picked up on the fact that people were stacking their PlayStation Plus and PlayStation Now subscriptions.
Sure.
Which I didn't do a ton of. I just did it for like the 1 year. So in June I'll have a full year of it. So, but some people were stacking them for insane amounts of time, and so Sony has confirmed they've blocked that now. So if you missed that boat, too late. Sorry, but I thought this was interesting. The real Tsushima Island, at least one gift shop or tourist stop there specifically is going to be selling Ghost of Tsushima merch to tourists. Cool. And Jeff's comment on this is thanks, whites.
Oh, God damn it, Jeff.
This sounds like something that
who made the game, guys? Who made the game?
Dave Chappelle would say. Dave Chappelle would totally say that. Thank you, whites.
And the whites say you're welcome.
Now that's what I call a white savior.
God damn it.
So that is interesting there. I mean, clearly not. It's mostly super woke white people who are upset by this. I don't think I think people who are from there are like, sweet.
So are they using some of that?
Like, thanks for the tourism. Yeah, that's it.
I was gonna say, are they
also thanks for like highlighting our culture and our location and telling a great story of our history.
Japan is always grateful when American does any take on any of their stuff. You know what I mean? Yeah, even when the Black Widow movie was coming out with like Scarlett Johansson, that all of us here in America were like, whoa, this is racist. Japanese people were like, yeah, I can't wait. I like that anime. I can't wait to see it.
You mean Ghost in the Shell?
Ghost in the Shell. What did I say?
You said Black Widow, which I mean, same.
Oh,
actress.
Black Widow's in there.
Yes, same actress.
Yes. There's a rumor that PlayStation's going to start. Sony's going to start requiring that games that are priced $34 or higher get a minimum a couple hours of a game trial. So the idea being, and I don't know what this is in response to. Again, this is a rumor. This is according to game developer sources. I don't know exactly where that source comes from, so take that with a grain of salt. But that being said, I wonder if they're getting a lot of game returns and people that have tried a game and hate it and want to return it, and they're like, let's just nip this in the bud and give people a set amount of time to try a game and then decide if they want to purchase it or not. I don't know, but that's my guess.
It's funny too, because so when I saw that article, people just complaining like, so since when are demos not free? Since when are they not free? It's like, well, I mean, you used to get demos and then people would maybe not buy the game. Or maybe they just didn't download the demo a lot, and it takes time and resources to make a demo. So
this is different, right? This would be a timed trial. So you could download a game that comes out, and you get on each account, I would assume you get X number of minutes. Maybe it's a 1 hour that you get to play this game, and then your time's up, and you have to buy it or you have to uninstall it. The idea, I think, is to save Sony the trouble of all the returns, and I could be wrong here, but the idea is that if it's $34 or more. So more than $34, right? So a $35 or more game is considered like a higher tier game. I imagine that those returns are much more of a hassle for Sony. But the idea is that within the first 3 months of a game release, from now on, not retroactive, developers are supposed to have some sort of trial availability or a demo. I guess a demo is also possible, but a lot of times demos are custom crafted versions.
Right, that's what I mean. Yeah.
And so they're not making them do a demo. They want them to do at least a 2-hour trial. So. There you go. I don't know if this is going to work or not. It sounds like they're going to roll it out in some testing first.
I was going to say, it can be tricky because in the past there have been situations where people hack that, right?
That's ridiculous.
I guess I just, like, maybe you guys will agree, like, you just kind of know when you are going to like it, like what kind of games you like, right? Like, you know, like how often are we burned by a game? You know what I mean? Like,
very often.
It happens. I think I've been burned recently even, but like it's just usually like if you do the research, like you know if a game's for you or not. So like like maybe you were just saying earlier, Tim, I don't know what this is in response to or what this is fixing.
Because it seems like a big deal. It's a big hassle for the developers or publishers that have to do this now. So Sony's doing it for some reason.
Games are so well covered, and
the trials are going to be part of new release trials are going to be part of the third tier in their Game Pass alternative.
Interesting. Okay.
So
could be connected to that.
Yeah, that's what I thought it was. I thought it was
that makes sense. So like maybe you just have a chance to try a lot of games, you know, any game, you know, for.
I thought it would be more than 2. If 2 hours is the rumor, that's very Sony of them.
It's the minimum. It has to be minimum 2 hours.
So it's very Sony of them to be like it's gonna be minimum 2 hours. I would be like minimum 5 hours. But anyway,
depends on the game too.
Yeah, some of the games are only 8 hours.
That's true.
Long, you know,
that's a good point. Yeah. But the point is that EA is it EA that does this already? EA does 10-hour.
EA does this.
Well, Mass Effect was 10 hours.
Trials, yeah. So I think they're trying to do something competitive with that their.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
And some games are only 10 hours long, so you can't do that all the time.
I mean, if it was Order 1986 or whatever that game is, like you would have beaten that game twice.
So if I'm a game developer now, I'm like, all right, how can we make our games release at $33? Let's just release all our games at $33 or less. We don't have to do this trial.
Yeah, right. I don't know what this is fixing. I know it's probably for somebody, but like I tend to know what type of games
it might be as simple as what Jeff is saying. Hey, they just want to make sure they can include this in their service, and that's it.
Well, it's just a service, like like a bullet point. Yeah, I believe that. Sure.
Then they can act like they have all these games available on their service, even though it's just a trial.
Even though it's just trials. Yep.
You could play 2 hours of the new God of War game. It's like okay, yeah.
It's like nothing.
Yeah.
I'm in the tutorial still, and the trial ended.
So Game Freak, who of course develops the Pokemon games, and they're working on the new Pokemon games that are coming out for this holiday, they are apparently transitioning, like several other companies have, to a optional 4-day work week. It sounds like you've got to qualify in some ways to prove that you've got family, especially with young kids at home, and you need to be there. But they're trying to make that available, and I think I just highlighted this because I think it's an interesting counterbalance to all the crunch you hear about from a lot of companies and stuff. And it's like, hey, not every big company that makes a ton of money, like Game Freak clearly makes a ton of money off of Pokemon. Nintendo is a huge partner. They're not all evil, as much as we'd like to say. Every corporation is evil. Sounds like they're doing right by their employees here. So I think this is kind of cool.
Yeah, good for them.
They're calling it
that should be the regular thing is 4-day work weeks.
I don't or just the choice. Why can't I just choose?
Yeah, at least make it optional. Some people prefer the 5-day. They prefer the 5-day pacing, 5-day work week, whatever. But I worked at a job that was like every other week we would do like a 4-day work week, whatever. And if you wanted to partake, great. If not, then you get your regular 5 days in, 8 hours a day. But it would be like 4 days where you'd work 10 hours, and most of the time we just skip lunch. And then Friday we would have off.
Yep.
And,
I've seen that before too. I do think it's just a good reminder that I think most employers should be more concerned with the work getting done than the number of hours that you're
I agree.
logging in. Now,
I know
it's
not my company now, because my company now has a very old school mentality when it comes to work.
Okay.
Like working from home, especially to them, is like, how do you get anything done? It's very boomer type of opinion on working from home. So some companies are not going to be pro 4-day work week, no matter.
I'm still working on my company getting sick days, so I took the 4-day work week as well out of my reach.
Jeez.
Yikes. Yeah, by the way, we're talking to Kyle through a time travel portal. He's talking to us from the 70s, so that's why. That's antiquated.
You can't see me because YouTube will take us down, but I am smoking a cigarette indoors right now, too.
Yes.
So.
Man, what an antiquated way to look at things. Holy smokes. All right. Well, Super Mario animated movie has been delayed officially to spring of 2023. So no longer coming out this holiday like they were targeting.
We should just cancel Christmas.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, just cancel Christmas now.
Yeah.
What do we have to look forward to? Avatar 2?
Yes.
So, yeah, I mean, this is one of those that I am assuming won't be great anyway, but it might be one of those like Detective Pikachu or Sonic things where I'm like, oh, that was actually fine.
They might land that like Lego movie.
Or if it's like Lego
kind of
movie.
Vibe. Yeah, they may very well hit that vibe.
Miyamoto is overseeing this whole thing. We're fine. We're fine.
Yeah, he's never made a bad anything.
It's exactly. It's fine. It's fine. We're fine.
I mean, did you see the cast though? I'm still like,
we're fine. It's fine.
I'm still like, can't believe we're gonna have Anya Taylor-Joy, however it's pronounced, as freaking Peach. Are you serious?
Yeah, no. I think
she's like a husband voice
Seth
actress.
Rogen play again? Does he play? I forget. Seth Rogen got like hired for somebody, and I was like,
Donkey Kong.
Yeah, I was like, that's the only one that makes sense.
Yeah. Who's Luigi? It's not John Leguizamo this time. It's Charlie Day, right?
Yeah. That's pretty good.
Mario, I think we gotta do this thing over here. Like,
hey, Mario.
It's gonna be all raspy. Yeah, I don't know, man. I'm assuming it won't be great, but if it is, we won't find out till spring.
If kids like it, then mission accomplished. They won't care. They'll just make sequels.
There you go.
Yeah, exactly.
Plus, we know that Sonic 2 is one of the highest grossing, at least in the U.S. I think it is the highest grossing video game based movie in the U.S.
Idris Elba is Knuckles. So I mean, if you can get Idris Elba to do Knuckles, I mean, anything's possible.
Again, I did go see Sonic 2. I don't know if I told you guys that. That works. He worked that worked fine. Like it ended up.
Yeah, when I saw him in the trailer, first when I heard the casting news, I was like, "This isn't April Fool's. That's crazy." And then when I saw the trailer, I was like, "Okay, I get it." Like
it worked, man.
Sounds
it totally
really
worked.
good.
Totally worked.
Or not Tails. Knuckles.
Right.
Imagine him as Tails.
Yeah, that'd be hilarious.
Let's go, Sonic.
But yeah, by the way, if you don't like when Jim Carrey is going full Jim Carrey, then you will hate Sonic movies.
I love when he goes full.
That's the thing I mainly liked about the first one. Didn't love
he goes even more. He's even more.
When he can go
Carrey
Unchained, it's just the best to me.
You can tell that they were like, just do whatever, Jim.
Yeah, just get on there. Just do it.
Just rolling.
Yeah.
We saw Man on the Moon. We're nervous around you. Xbox and Bethesda have officially announced they're going to have a showcase. It's going to be in June. It's pretty much going to be on the Sunday where E3 would have kicked off anyway. It's going to be on June 12th. And the quote is, the show will feature amazing titles coming from Xbox Game Studios, Bethesda, and our partners around the world.
So Starfield. We're going to see Starfield.
Xbox and Bethesda will include everything you need to know about the diverse lineup of games, blah, blah, blah. So
there'll be some Plague Tale noise at this. That's what I gotta say too.
But they're saying specifically Xbox and Bethesda. So it's not a Bethesda showcase, it's both. So we will see Starfield, certainly, of course, but it's going to be all the Xbox stuff too. So if they have a Gears of War,
they have a lot of ground to cover because
Hellblade 2, they got to show us Plague Tale 2, they got to show us like a bunch of stuff.
Did y'all see that thing to come out where like a dev that had left the Starfield team was like, the engine for Starfield is so hot garbage, and like that news was huge last week.
That was
man.
I didn't even see
yeah,
that.
yeah. Like this is it's the worst engine anyone's ever like worked with. And, like, it's so awful.
Dude.
And there's so much content. They're gonna have to cut a lot of content just to make the 11/11 date because like just a huge slam piece, like.
Dude, I can't wait for Todd Howard to come up with this leather jacket and be like, "Hey, I'm Todd Howard, guys. This is gonna be so great. You're gonna."
What does he say? It just works.
You're gonna buy every edition for the next 20 years.
It sounds like if Dan hated the Andromeda movement, he's going to love the Starfield engine the way that moves. That's what it sounds like.
Absolutely.
I'm still really excited for this game, but hearing that last week, I was like, ugh.
Yeah.
I didn't even hear that. I wasn't aware.
Yeah. I'll dig up the article and send it in the chat. But Inside Games with Bruce and Lawrence covered it, a whole episode of it, and it was
that's not good.
It's a stamp piece.
So
man,
Disney Dreamlight Valley is going to arrive in early access sometime this year. It's a free-to-play life simulation adventure game. Sounds amazing.
But
did you see the
characters, right?
What's that?
I was saying, did you guys see the trailer? Or?
I did not watch the trailer.
It actually looks kind of fun, especially for kids. I think for kids they'll definitely like it.
So if you
like The Sims or something, like what is it like?
A little bit. Like it almost seems like you're literally living in the Disney park. And
I was just gonna say, did you play the Disney Dream Park, whatever game that they put out?
I did, yeah. No, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
It had vibes like that from the images that I saw. I don't know if it plays like that at all, but that was basically wander around the parks as a guest and collect these things and experience these rides and whatever else. And it kind of had that as a vibe. Not that you're just in the park. This looks like
you actually are building like a home. Like you actually have like a little Disney home inside the park, and you're also doing some farming. You're meeting the characters. Like it actually looks kind of interesting.
I mean, I'm a big Disney fan,
and it's free to play, which means there'll be plenty of add-ons you can, I'm assuming, purchase.
Microtransactions.
There you go.
Lots of gay stuff too.
I'm so excited for that.
Lots of gay stuff. So tons of stuff.
We're gonna watch characters kiss, and we're all gonna turn gay. All of us. So.
Dude, did you see? I saw like a meme of like this because DeSantis is all anti-gay or whatever. It was like, oh, we have a problem with the gay stuff, but then we don't have a problem with all like the kissing of all these old like 50s Disney cartoons. It's like, okay, well that's fine. These gay characters can't hold hands. These gay Disney characters can't hold hands, but all these dudes can just put their mouths on these ladies.
Well, especially
when they're sleeping.
What's so funny about that, and I'm sorry to you can cut all this out, obviously. I'm sorry to talk about it, but what's funny is Disney, all they said was voice their opposition. They didn't even do anything to stop the bill, and DeSantis was still like, well, then you get no privileges. It's like, they didn't even do anything to stop the bill. You're fine, dude. It's fine.
I think what we're going to see in Disney Dreamlight Valley is some DLC with a very specific politician as the villain.
Yeah,
sure. I think that's what we're going to see. So
there's no kissing in my Disney World, and there's like this whole story.
I mean, I am super middle of the road on a lot of these topics, and I think there's two sides to every story, and we can villainize all we want, but I look forward to Disney villainizing him in their upcoming game.
Yes, absolutely.
I know that we all have our points of view. It's fine. I don't think we agree on everything. I don't think there's a single good guy or bad guy in any of this. But Final Fantasy 16 is near the end of development, Dan. I don't know what that means because I feel like
I don't know.
Well, I mean, take forever.
It means that we're getting close.
Testing it at that point, or like what happens after development?
So Yoshida had said a while ago, like, listen, we're not gonna. They showed that initial trailer, and then he was like, so we're pretty much gonna show you like all of like here's like, boom, like we're dumping all the information on you. We're gonna show you a chunky slice of stuff, and then we're gonna give you a date. But he said that's gonna be pretty much towards the end of when the game's getting close to finished. So we were supposed to see something, I think, at the end of last year, but then because of COVID and blah, 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 they said, listen, we're very sorry. That's not going to happen.
Because of the gays too, right? Of course. The gays
yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Always the gays.
Yeah. Big problem there in Japan.
Yeah. Especially gay chocobos. You can't have gay chocobos.
Oh my God.
But if he's saying that they're pretty much at the end of development, then we should be, because people have been theorizing April, which, I mean, now we're out of April, but pretty much around springtime is when we're supposed to be seeing something. And when we see something, then we should definitely be getting a release date. I mean, I don't know, could be the end of this year, but if not, then I'm guessing early next year, then maybe not too long into next year. So,
yeah,
but we'll see.
So I hear that. My first thought is, oh, cool, it's going to come out soon. And then I stop and think, all right, end of development doesn't mean it's anywhere close to release necessarily. That just means they're done actually building the game. But now who knows what kind of bug squashing, testing process. Oh, man. So,
I mean, there was a bit more like stuff that was said in that kind of quote. But I mean, it
was all in Japanese, so you couldn't read it. Is that what you're saying?
I mean, people translate stuff, Jeff. Yes, not everyone.
I know, joke ruiner. Jeez, God,
damn
it. Bit killer Jones.
Jones over here.
For someone who made an Asian character in Mass Effect, you sure as hell don't. express your love
It's
for
funny.
Asians.
I like how his guilt shows in other things like that, though. Like, he'll rip on Asians a lot, but then he'll make an Asian character and he'll offset his moral balance.
Well, she's speaking American.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, and the last thing I wanted to highlight, and I did watch this video. I thought it looked really cool. Is the Skull and Bones game, which has been, I think it was announced 5 years ago, around the same time Breath of the Wild 2 was announced. I think this was announced.
Yeah, it feels like ages ago.
As
long as
E3 still was going strong when this was announced. Yeah.
Whenever I Love You Now Die came out, that's when this was announced.
Yeah.
So
15,
20 years
back
ago.
when Tim was not paying attention to stuff, obviously. So yeah, I know Skull and Bones was announced a long time ago, and then it kind of just disappeared. And most of us were like, "Yeah, this is going to be quietly canceled at some point because it's been a year since we've heard anything." Then it resurfaced, and there's clearly been turnover, and they kind of rebooted what the core gameplay was going to be. Like, a lot of things have happened with the development of this game, but it sounds like, and if you watch this apparently leaked preview, I assume this is going to be from a Ubisoft forward. You know how they do their little showcases every once in a while? I assume they'll have one of those, and this is going to be one of the things they feature, because I think this game is actually going to be coming out relatively soon. It looks very much like a third-person Sea of Thieves meets some elements of Black Flag from Assassin's Creed 4. I think we're going to see elements of both of those things in here. They're saying it's multiplayer centric, so they want you to co-op, they want you to, battle other players, but it's all soloable, which I thought was interesting. So again, technically Sea of Thieves is soloable, so if that's what they're saying, then it's not going to appeal to a lot of solo players, but that just tells me that you don't have to play with other people online. You could get on and just try out their,
Well, in Sea of Thieves, you need other people to use that ship, right? Isn't it like super
But
difficult?
you can choose different ships, like, so there's solo ship if you.
I've played dozens of hours of Sea of Thieves solo and had a blast.
Same here.
Sure. But I mean,
there's different side ship. But yeah,
the little skiff or schooner,
ship,
whatever that little one is, you can absolutely have one person controlling it. Now, if you get into a ship battle, that's really tough.
Yeah,
so,
you're hard to hit too. You're a pretty small target. So
that's true. Yeah. So anyway, that video looks really cool. I mean, a lot of it looks like there's at least some on land exploration from what I could tell. It's hard to tell if that's like they're animating your character walking to a store and you just shop, or if you're actually controlling your character on land. I can't tell if you're actually running around on land or if you're controlling any kind of battles when you board a ship. That much is not clear, but there's obviously a ton of upgrading to do. The idea is that you start with a very simple ship, a very small ship with a very small crew, and then you progress, you build your infamy over time, and then that'll level you up, and you can get more money, better missions, better crew, better ships, all that kind of stuff. So lots and lots of upgrades. I can't tell yet if this is one of those free to play or cheap to buy with lots of paid add-ons, or if it's a straight up $60 full experience. I can't tell, because Sea of Thieves does have some stuff you can spend money on, but you can get the full experience by just buying the game. So
and everything's cosmetic in that game. So
yeah, everything you buy is cosmetic. So I'm not sure how this is going to work yet, but I think it looks pretty interesting.
They're pretty tight-lipped about what kind of game this is, in terms of pricing and stuff. But yeah, I was pretty impressed by this video you shared as well, because I'd written this game off the second they announced it, because when they did announce it, they're like, you can't get off your ship. It's all on ship, kind of situation or whatever. But you had brought up that like they've gone through so many changes, and like this game seems completely different now after watching that video. So
it does seem different.
Yeah.
Again, if it turns out to be a thing where you don't directly control your character at all, you only directly control the ship, and everything they showed on land was maybe like automate, like if you get near a dock and it asks you if you want to dock, and then it just animates your character walking to
would you like to go to shop, would you like to go
then this video is a little misleading then, because this looked like you could control your character walking through.
It looked like that to me too when I was watching it. Yeah, it looked like there was some sort of control there. I don't know if this is like the pirate RPG people are talking about, where you're like getting off your ship and exploring, the lands or whatever. But like, it seems a lot
your
deeper than I
character
thought
opening a treasure chest on the beach. I'm like, okay, did I walk up to that and open it, or is that like you spotted it and you click on it or whatever, and it?
We also don't actually know what year this build is either, right? I mean, this could be like right before some kind of change happened, for all we know, too. Like, we don't actually know anything, right?
That's technically true, right? When you get a leaked video like this, it seems really, really recent, based on what they've showed in the past.
Like, there was a lot going on in it for sure.
Yeah. But yeah, who knows? It looks pretty good too. Like, I think the visuals look really nice. But We shall see. But that's it. I know we're extra long episode this week, but there's lots to catch up on. Lots of stuff that we're watching and playing, which is always fun. Makes it more interesting. So I appreciate you guys being here and talking for so long. Make sure that you keep playing as much as you can. And if you need to quit on your Backlog Hall of Shame, then report back on that. Like, hey, you know what? I could not stand BioShock anymore. I had to quit. I couldn't do it. I don't think that's
too many gays. I keep going back to the gay well. I don't know why. I'm sorry. I apologize.
Just a lot of Derek energy going on here. I don't really.
Yeah.
We need to bring it. Let's bring it down. Let's bring it down. Isn't that what Ross does?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't.
Yeah, Ross does that in Friends. Yeah.
I don't watch that, so I don't know.
Last thing I'll say real quick is I actually got my kids to watch. Most of my kids hadn't seen Remember the Titans, and so we watched that tonight. And man, not even in school yet. They haven't watched it. My oldest son said he had seen it somewhere,
I mean, I've never seen
it.
What is happening to our education system?
We're football stage,
what does that have to do with education?
Because Kyle can vouch. At our high schools,
yeah,
I'm pretty sure I saw it 4 times in high school.
When they would wheel in a VHS, it was either Bill Nye or it was Remember the Titans.
I swear to God, they've showed it so many times.
I don't think I watched it in school, but I've seen it.
Yeah, that's weird.
It's
anyway,
something to do with the historical aspect.
That sounds like an
it's
excuse.
Teamwork and like a bunch of underdogs coming together and yada yada.
That sounds like somebody who just had a movie.
Doesn't talk about how much of a drunk that coach really was and how abusive he actually was, but that's the real. Yeah, he's actually a real piece of shit in real life, but yeah, whatever.
Oh, that's fun. You know? That's funny, but not
the movie is real feel good though. Woo!
doesn't he kind of play that kind of character then in Flight, where he has all the flaws, but he's
there you go. Too? The Flight is a sequel.
Flight was good redemption. Yeah.
Oh my gosh! Well, way to ruin it, Kyle. I was just gonna say how much I love Remember the Titans.
I love that movie.
I love that movie.
I'm a huge fan of that movie.
Yeah.
I like that the guy who played I think he was the quarterback though. He's like white or whatever, and I think did he get injured?
Is he, Jeff?
Did he get injured or whatever?
No, he's the backup and finally comes in towards the end of the season.
But anyway, he basically has a super long Viking-esque beard now and long hair, and he was in Sons of Anarchy. He was.
Oh no, you're talking about he's the main defensive lineman.
Yes.
He gets injured in that.
He got injured. That's what I was thinking. He plays Opie. Opie, and like now every time I see that guy, I'm like Opie. Because nothing bad happens to him. If you haven't seen the show, nothing bad happens to him.
Just hug. I cry because he's safe and happy. That's why I cry.
Opie. Yeah, that's why I cry.
All right, guys. Thanks for being here. Thank you all for listening. Catch you next time. See ya.